Let's go.
Yeah, bro. The double unders this morning. I'm over teaching jujitsu, 5:45 a.m. jujitsu class. You're working out with your class early in the morning doing double unders, and double unders smoke me, dude.
I know. Well, so Jackie's gotten so good at them where for her, it's almost like a recovery thing, like really easy. Like, if you did single unders, it'd be easy.
Yeah,
just
single unders,
skips.
just jumping rope is easy. Dude,
like she kills them.
Bro, they smoke me. That's what, honestly, like, I need to start doing more of that stuff for my jiu-jitsu. So I'm going to Barcelona in May to compete in Euros, the European Masters.
Wow, that's exciting.
So
that's coming up.
It's coming up. So I'll start my camp the last week of April.
March,
April. Yeah. No, last week of March. So I'll start my camp last week of March. I'll have like a 5-week camp.
Nice.
I'll taper the last week, travel out there, get acclimatized, probably go train at a gym there for a couple of days lightly before, and then compete.
Nice.
So I need to get
fit.
I need to get fit, man, which is crazy for us to say because we're already pretty fit.
Yeah. But you got to be at the
not
highest
for
level.
us. We got to be at the highest level. And how old are you?
33.
33. Oh, man. Bro, I do not feel like I'm 13 years older than you.
Yeah. No, you're killing it.
Dude, that's crazy. I know. I feel like a pup still.
Yeah.
My body doesn't. My body doesn't feel it. My brain, my maturity level feels it.
Exactly.
Well, welcome to Together We Go with my good friend Devin Soto.
Woo!
Yeah, dude, super stoked to have you on. Obviously, we met when I first came out here. Mm-hmm. We've done shooting courses together, worked out together, jiu-jitsu together, right? We've got to watch essentially the birth of your daughter and like the growth of your business. And you've got to watch my growth here now as the CEO of Fieldcraft, but you got to kind of you get to see a little bit behind the scenes. And I love some of the comments from the first YouTube video that I put out introducing myself to the audience. Because everyone's like, why didn't this come from Mike? This is a hostile takeover.
Oh, really?
Yeah, dude.
I would say probably not.
They all think it's like a coup. And the fact is, Mike's doing his own thing. Mm-hmm. Mike trusted me and put me in this place, basically in this seat. But there's like, I'm not listening to a cop.
Oh, really?
Yeah, dude. I think it's hilarious. And I'm well, actually... Like, I still have recent combat experience overseas from 2017. Yeah. So, like, granted, not like yesterday, but a lot more recent than a lot of the GWOT guys.
Yeah, for
sure.
And
same thing with you. Same thing with you contracting. You and I were on the same program. But for the listeners that may not know you, I want you to introduce yourself real quick. Your background, what you did in the military, and really kind of post-military contracting, what you're doing now.
Yeah. So my name's Devin Soto, local here in Spanish Fork, Utah. Grew up in a small town in Illinois. What's actually funny is me and you haven't talked about much of this at all.
No, I know, which is I'm stoked because we're gonna get in. I want to learn about Baby Devin, dude.
Yeah, so Baby Devin grew up in a small town in Illinois, Mendota.
Okay.
So got about 5,000-6,000 people in the town, and grew up with my father and my grandparents. So never knew my mother. Just didn't have a relationship. She was kind of just out of the picture. Mm-hmm. So really good family environment, though, I would say. Like with my father and grandparents, they were like the main parents, right? And then with my aunts and uncles, I've got like multiple aunts and uncles and all my cousins all in the same town.
Okay.
Yeah, all within probably, back then it'd be a bike, like a 5-minute bike ride. Yeah, everybody. Yeah. So that was really cool. I just did a bunch of small town things, some sports. Not really much in the firearms at all, actually. My grandfather was a veteran, but he didn't really, train me up, or we didn't do much of that stuff. He was just a really hard worker.
Yeah.
So small farm town, did a lot of that stuff with my uncle. He had a little farm outside of town, and just a normal kid, honestly.
Kind of grew up ranching a little bit?
Yeah, a little bit of that. I got into some fun horseback riding with my father, with one of his friends when I was younger.
Nice.
It's been a long time. I need to get back into that. Because the whole tactical cowboy thing.
Of course,
right?
Dude. So my student Spencer.
Yeah.
And then
you've got Preston.
Preston.
Yeah.
Dude, those boys are cowboys, man.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, for real cowboys. Like, dude, Spencer, he was teaching me how to break a horse. Mm-hmm. But he had a Mustang that was picked off a range that he was breaking, and I was helping him break this horse. And dude, he got me. And I grew up riding as a little bit as well, like early teens and stuff, and never owned horses, but my friends had horses. We lived in a horse community, and but I hadn't ridden a horse I was assigned to the mounted unit as a police officer for like 6 months. So I got to work with the horses there, which I was bummed out. It was after a shooting. I got reassigned after I killed a guy, which is normal, normal 100%. Standard operating procedure. But they kind of like kept me there for a little while. And because I got into a lot of use of horses, you know, and it's like they say the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Not in law enforcement. The squeaky wheel gets reassigned off the street, right?
100%.
But I actually enjoyed it working with these horses. But dude, Spencer's got me riding like for real.
Yeah.
And he's going to start roping and stuff. And so we're going to go do some riding down in St. George.
Nice.
But like modern day cowboy. So gun belt.
Yeah.
Glock, plate hanger, AR. We're going off, dude.
Yeah.
We're gonna, it's going to be rad.
That's going to be fun. He's legit.
Dude,
he talks all about it.
Bro, have you ever seen him ride a horse?
He said, show me videos.
Dude. I mean, it's like stuff out of like stuntman movie shit. The guy is wild, bro. He's got one picture on his Instagram of literally him like jumping a horse down a cliff.
Yeah.
Dude, it's insane. Yeah. It's insane to watch him break this Mustang.
He's got a lot of other talents too. He's a wild guy.
Bro, he's a wild young man, dude. I love him, dude. I love him. And bro, he's been training my little girl. He's been training Gemma.
Nice.
How to interact with these horses and train them and ride them. Dude, he's so good with her.
Nice.
And he's a good teacher too. So
yeah,
pretty cool. You know,
he seems like a guy that truly cares about people.
Bro, he does.
You know,
and he grew up with like no parents.
Yeah.
His story, he'd actually be a cool guy to have on here.
Yeah.
Because his story's crazy growing up, like sleeping in a tack room.
Wow.
You know, like at a ranch, like as a kid. You know, he told me stories like if he screwed up, he'd have to grab his bunk basically and go sleep up on a hill outside. I'm like, you're like, really? And dude, but it's for real, man. Like
every time with Spencer, it's always like, really?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, dude. The kid, I mean, I love the kid. So anyway, what sports did you play growing up?
A little bit of baseball, football, wrestling. Okay. Did that for a year in high school. That was awesome.
Yep.
Wish I would have done all 4 years. Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah,
that was about it.
Normal, like kind of rural America.
Oh yeah,
sort of sports.
100%.
And then high school.
Yep. So high school was great. Kind of like a quiet kid. Of a quiet kid. So a little bit in that time frame. Not super into the books. Did some sports. Was never really like a big superstar guy. You know, just kind of that guy that's what I was gonna ask. On the team.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. Like, were you always an elite athlete?
No.
Okay.
I always wanted to be.
I still want to be.
Yeah, right. I felt like I was always wanted to be. I just didn't have much of the natural talent. I would always work really hard. But I remember, I don't think it was even high school. I think this was like grade school, trying out for the basketball team. Mm-hmm. I was not a naturally good basketball player, but I was repping out in our home, like backyard basketball hoop setup and everything for months.
Yeah.
And went to the tryouts and just completely failed.
So you're like, yep, Army Rangers.
Yeah. Well, so when I was 16, my father passed away.
Okay.
So then I went to live full time with my grandparents, which wasn't like some crazy thing. It was just up the road.
Right.
Obviously, it wasn't great.
Right.
But the family really bonded together and pushed through. So that really taught me some good lessons on how to push through.
Yeah.
I feel like everybody around me really surrounded me with good, positive thoughts and vibes and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
And I wasn't planning Army at all, actually, until probably 18-ish, right? I was getting into fitness, because into sports, you get into that. And as a young man, I mean, let's just be real. You want to look good for the ladies, right?
I mean, look, there's a number one priority for the most of the reasons we do things and most of the decisions we make. And it's one thing, and it has to do with women.
Nice.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Yeah. So getting really into the fitness, and then my town didn't have a gym, which is funny because there's such a small town.
Yeah.
So I drove 15 minutes to LaSalle, Peru, which is like a kind of a joint town, and they had a YMCA. Yep. So I was going there, working out. Actually, it's funny. I was doing this style of training without even knowing it, because I was, just wanting to be really fit. Wrestling really pushed me towards that.
Right.
That kind of functional, high intensity interval training, and really into it. Met my Army recruiter, which he never told me he was my Army recruiter for like 6 months. Really great guy, Dave Martin. Just another guy at the gym, older than me, obviously.
Yeah.
he took an interest in me, and, we became friends, and then getting to know each other. He saw me working out really hard, and he was like, hey, what do you plan to do after high school? And I was like, oh, I don't know. I was planning on going to do fitness stuff, exercise science at the community college, which I think I would have done well at. Ended up doing it later on. But he mentioned Army Ranger, and I didn't know what that was.
Right, yeah.
But my grandfather was in the Army, so I was like, okay, I want to look into that. And he sent me some hype videos and a couple books, and I checked them out. And I was like, yeah, man, let's do that.
So this would have been, roughly 2010?
Yep, exactly.
Right?
Because I went in.
You were born 92?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I went in January 11th, 2011.
Boys, and you guys said I couldn't math. Did you see that math I just did in my head?
That was good.
All the viewers are watching me go trying to figure out that math. Okay.
Well, he didn't know my birthday or anything. So you pulled that off pretty solid. Yeah, that was good. That was good.
Shot in the dark. No.
So, yeah. Where was I? Yeah, he kind of introduced the idea to me, and he was a big mentor to me. Everybody says, like, oh, my recruiter was horrible.
Yeah,
he was amazing.
My recruiter most recruiters are kind of pieces of shit.
Yeah, no, this guy was awesome. Got me set up with the right contracts.
Nice.
Got me to go in as a PFC, which is nice. So, and not that it really matters, but you get more pay, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Long story
every
short,
little thing helps.
He hooked me up. Hooked me up. And then, got me to ship on January 11th, and then off we went. And that was like the first time, because we're a small town. I flew once before.
Okay.
But that was the first time, like, going to the airport on my own.
Yeah.
I just felt like a small town kid in Chicago.
Yeah, yeah.
And the recruiter, still awesome guy, but he drops me off. He's like, all right. And I walked into the airport. I didn't even really know where to go. Like, I didn't know, to go check in or anything.
Bro, that's wild, man. That's wild. 18,
it was cool.
And you had a Ranger contract?
Yep.
Nice.
So the option 40.
Yeah, that's
so
huge.
That was nice. Yeah.
That's huge. So you went down to Benning?
Yep.
For OSIT? Or did you go to
the basic training, then the job training for infantry further on, then Airborne, and then RASP. Okay. So I went through all those straight, which I actually got really lucky. I didn't have to do any holdovers. You hear guys talk about that? Yeah. I was in holding for 6 months.
Forever, yeah.
I went straight through everything. Then got to 2nd Battalion, then did my first deployment within a month later. So then I got to go home for the first time since joining.
Oh, wow.
Which was really cool, yeah. So I got to do all that in the first year.
Okay.
Yeah, which I think is a really good way to do it because I was just locked in my mind.
Yeah,
there's nothing else. It's just what I do.
That's it. That's your job. Hey, this is what we're doing. It's every day's hard.
Yep.
Every day's hard. And look, you're still doing it.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the way you and I live. So, all right. So before we get into the rest, I was thinking this morning because I'm on the mats at 5:45 a.m. You're over there getting after doing double unders and lifting, and you and I share a lot of the same values, I would say. Mm-hmm. So pop quiz.
Oh yeah, go for it.
On 3, we're both going to answer at the same time.
Okay.
So what in your mind is the singularly most important primary attribute of a tactical sheepdog gunfighter guy? Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Fitness. Oh, nice. Let's go.
All right. Ready?
Yeah.
Next one.
There could be a mental piece there, but I guess that works into the fitness.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. Next question. Ready? Are you guys ready? Cry multicams or 6-pack?
Oh.
1, 2, 3. 6-pack.
Yeah, 100%. That was easy.
Sorry. Staccato or glutes and quads? 1, 2, 3. Glutes and quads.
Yeah, for sure.
Obviously,
especially glutes.
Dude, especially glutes.
Yeah.
Obviously, I knew our answers were going to be the same because we feel the same way about that. And you and I both preach it. And one of my favorite little videos you ever did was an EDC video.
Oh yeah.
And you're like, you guys want to know my EDC? And I think you pulled it up, you lifted up your shirt or pulled it out of your fanny pack, and it was gym membership card or something like that, right? And
I think it said get to the gym.
Get to the gym, right?
Yeah.
And that's the truth. And I preach it. And I don't want to say I shouldn't say I catch a lot of hate for it, right? I get both angles. And I get people, men and women, messaging me and going, man, I listened to you on this podcast, or I listened to you speak today, or I watched your video today, and the 1% thing resonated. And I need that. I've let myself go. I looked down at my belly and I was the guy you were talking to. And even though I wasn't talking to that person, but, I was like, hey guys, if you're, or then I get, well, you're like an elitist in fitness and we don't fight with swords anymore. And bro, you've never been in a gunfight then, homie. Like gunfighting's hard, it's physically exhausting, just even like pretty simple, small engagements, man.
Oh yeah.
The adrenaline spike, you get all that. And the more fit you are, as the more you're capable of handling that at a level where you can still operate effectively, and do your job or seize the initiative. So,
I was actually thinking about that the other day because I figured we'd talk about some battalion stuff.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about how fit I was back then. Like from a metric standpoint, most of them I'm actually fitter now, but not with carrying weight.
No. Well, same thing with me, man.
Yeah.
There's so many little nuances of fitness and little paths. You can be a specialist, right? So I would say from an overall skill set capability level, now at 46, I'm the most capable I've ever been. I'm the most capable I've ever been. That being said, can I put a ruck on and go ruck 20 miles right now? I could.
Yeah.
I'm going to be down for a week.
Exactly. Yeah. I was just thinking about doing the operations day after day after day after day. Sometimes you land on the X, but sometimes it's a 10K infill.
That's right.
And then you do the couple-hour operation. Then you come home and you go to the gym.
Right.
You wake up the next day and do it. And I'm thinking like, man, I need to get that endurance back. But the only way you get that endurance is by doing it every day.
And your mission set is different now.
Exactly.
Right? And same thing with my mission set. My workouts now are specifically for jiu-jitsu and fighting. Honestly, like I say for jiu-jitsu and fighting, but for real world strength.
Yeah.
And endurance. And I'd like to get your perspective, and I've told you I've kind of changed mine, but kind of the same thing with you. Your workouts are for overall capability, kind of jack of all trades. And you don't need to throw a ruck on, and strap a Carl Gustav on your shoulder and offset infill 10 clicks anymore.
Yep.
You don't need to.
Yeah. So my mission isn't that anymore.
Your mission is different, right?
Yeah.
But now you're probably lifting heavier because I see some of the weight you're putting on that bar. I'm like, good Lord, man, it hurts just watching it, and you're more fit now, I would imagine, than you were back then.
Yeah. And mentally stronger, a lot more skills. More
skill sets,
sure.
more knowledge,
100%.
More maturity. And these are all things that come with, and like, I watch you guys over there. I can't lift the weight you guys lift anymore. I can't. When I was your age, I could.
Yeah.
When I was your age, I was deadlifting, squatting, hang cleaning crazy amounts of weight. Dude, I can't do it anymore. Honestly, I stopped touching free weights probably 6 months ago.
I remember that. Yeah. I remember
probably
that.
6 months ago now. I've stopped touching free weights, and I go to a gym and I use machines.
Yeah.
Straight machines. Because after breaking my neck, breaking my back, 3 surgeries on my wrist, all the joint damage, torn pec. Dude, it hurts too much to grab a barbell. It hurts too much to put a barbell on my shoulders anymore. And it was a swallow. You want to talk about swallowing my pride, dude. It was a blow to my ego. It really was. It was like, honestly, it was one of the more difficult things I had to kind of overcome because I walk into like this health club.
Yeah.
It's like Globo Gym.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, it's a nice gym. It's got everything
nice.
you need.
I live right next door.
There you go. Yeah, we're right down the street from each other. But it's a Globo Gym.
Yeah.
And dude, I haven't worked out in a health club fitness center in over 2 decades. I've worked out in places like this where, our team has a gym like this in our compound or whatever it may be. And so I've worked out like this for over 2 decades now. And now I'm in a gym with all the gym people.
Yeah, right.
Which is interesting, right?
It's got your headphones in, you're jamming.
It's good people watching, man. I'll say that.
Oh, yeah. Well, I used to go to that gym every morning.
Yeah.
Every morning.
Yeah. But I feel good, dude. I feel good. I feel strong. Honestly, it's taken my jiu-jitsu to another level, and I don't hurt as bad.
Well, I bet you can push a lot of intensity when you're on those machines because then all the other variables are canceled out.
That's right. I can push a lot more intensity. And am I getting some of the full body kind of balance stuff that I'm not? But dude, I get that on the mats twice a day, 3 times a day, where I'm moving people and grabbing 200-pound guys and throwing them.
And you've already got the baseline because you did it for years already. So you've already got that foundation.
Exactly. Now, dude, I'm trying to stay as fit and strong as I can and not get injured.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the best mindset to be in for sure. I love that you did on your videos talking about the fitness stuff because, I mean, you've seen BJJ people and PRG people and people that have come to classes inside here. It's like, hey, they could change their lives just by mentioning it to them. You know, they, like you said in the videos, they got all the tactical gear, but then they got $0 for the fitness.
That's right.
But yeah, the longevity standpoint is where we focus our efforts too. And like you said, it's different for everybody.
For sure.
You know, we could have a 50-year-old woman come in who hasn't been training at all, a 60-year-old man who's been training, but he's got different things he needs to focus on. And Jack, like our 20-year-old in here who's going to RASP here pretty soon, and Taggart, another young guy. Yeah. So they're pushing intensity in the ways that they can. It's not always like me or like you or like those ladies or guys. It's in their own way. But that's one thing I noticed when I was at Ranger Battalion, they really focused on. Like they had really high level exercise physiologists and scientists working with us every day. Yeah. Now, did everybody value it as much as they should have? Probably not.
Definitely not.
Even me.
Young Rangers. Yeah.
He doesn't know what he's talking
about. Nerd.
So silly. So silly. But they had a lot of really good things to think about because they were working with a similar population that me and you are today.
Yeah.
Could have you even got the kids in there, right?
Yeah.
Could have children all the way up to 60, 70, 80-year-old men and women. Yeah. But you got to make something work for all of them because they need to work together as a team. And that's what I think was really cool back there, and that's what I've tried to recreate here.
Yeah.
And that's what you guys have at jiu-jitsu. It's like everybody trains together, and you're always going to push yourself harder.
For sure, 100%. Yeah. And that's one of the things, I've got to watch kind of your evolution as a business owner. I've gotten to watch the evolution of Performance Recovery Group, PRG. Mm-hmm. And dude, you're changing people's lives.
Oh yeah.
There are humans in your gym now on those rubber floor mats that do not look like the same human I met, a year ago.
Like Heather,
and
right?
it's a blink of an eye. Dude, Heather.
Right? There's so many to name, but
there's so
because she was here
Tina,
day one. Tina, she's crushing
Tina,
it too.
Heather, a couple of the guys, like,
oh yeah,
dude, crushing it. It's like, you want to talk about changing your life. Don't buy the new gun.
Mm-hmm.
Go hire a fitness trainer.
Yeah,
hire a personal trainer for a little while. Learn how to lift. Learn how to work out, and then just have the discipline to go do it.
Oh yeah,
not the motivation.
Yeah,
the discipline.
Well, the discipline's important. Like we were out at our range all day yesterday. I probably cleared 2 acres worth of weeds with my truck, which was rad. That was really nice to do. And then we got like a good hour of training in. So we're there all day long till like 4 p.m. Then got back at like 5, 6. And, I was tired this morning.
Yeah.
But it's nice to have all the other people in the gym. I know they're going to be there. Will is crushing it as a coach. He's really motivating.
He looks like a different human too.
Yeah. Well, kind of that, people working together at their own intensities. This morning in my class, it was 3 old, not super old, but older women. I don't know what to say about it, right?
Whatever.
They're in their like 30s to 50s range.
Whoa. I resembled, hold on. I'm 46 now. They were older than me. There were some women there that were older than me, for sure.
But they have all lost weight and made massive progress. They're loving it. And a young man that started with us like a month ago and me, and we're all doing different weights, but doing the same movements. And they pushed me heavier to a higher intensity than I was feeling. Because this morning I was like, oh, I'm not feeling good. But even they could push me just because of the environment.
And that's what's cool about it. It's the same thing on the jiu-jitsu mats. Like there's no one in the gym that is as fit or as strong as you. That's just the way it is.
There's a couple.
There's a couple of guys. You know what I'm saying? But overall, you're the fittest, strongest guy in the gym. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of the way it should be. You're the leader.
Yeah.
Right? You're the leader. And I'm not saying there aren't some big dudes that are physically stronger than you or moving more weight, but as a overall fitness metric, you're the guy.
Yeah. The endurance, the cardio, the power,
all
the
of
skills.
It, right?
Yeah.
Yet you can have your students that are 30 years older than you, not nearly as fit, still motivate you and push you.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And it's the same thing with me on the mat.
Yeah.
I'm the black belt on the mat. I am, again, overall capability, I'm the guy. Mm-hmm. Yet I'll roll with my blue belts and they'll push me. They'll push me to move or try something different or move more. And like every roll I go into, I'm like, all right, this roll, I'm just going to move. I'm going to make it a sprint of a roll.
Nice.
At the end of 5 minutes, I want to be dying gassed out. I'm not going to try to submit them once. I'm just going to bounce, move,
Yeah.
And you have these different, and then you can get pushed by people who aren't to your level of fitness or aren't to your level of skill set or whatever it may be. So that's cool about what we do, because we can, I don't want to use the word scale, but we can morph it to what we need for who we need in the class, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it also, because you've been doing it. How long have you been coaching jiu-jitsu?
Well, I've been coaching jiu-jitsu for about, let's call it 6 years, 7 years. I've been coaching jiu-jitsu. I've been training jiu-jitsu for 18.
Yeah. Well, one thing I know that's really helped me, and I'm sure helps you in that environment where not everybody's a black belt or whatever, is just being that leader and holding yourself accountable, holding yourself to that standard. Because it doesn't matter if it's 10 white belts. You still hold yourself to that standard like, hey, I need to show up for these people. I need to lead for these people.
That's right.
I need to get it done no matter what, no matter who they are, no matter how early it is, how bad you feel. You just got back from SHOT Show, right? You're all tired and still in there.
Yeah, bro. And like, I did not want to come to class this morning.
Yeah.
Like my right knee swollen's kind of achy, just old man injuries.
Yeah.
I didn't sleep the greatest. I still have this like funk congestion in my sinuses. I'm like, I don't want to go. But hey, again, like you said, you're the leader. Lead by example. Lead from the front. Set the standard that you want your folks to mimic and represent.
Exactly.
Because
one thing I think people get wrong is they think that you need to have that like now. Like you need to be that person now. And like thinking back into the Ranger days, I was not that person. Like I wasn't lazy or anything, but I was not a leader. I was just, a young dude, 19, 20, 21, 22, doing the Ranger mission, having a good time, partying with the boys. Like it was rad.
Yeah.
And there were leaders that I really looked up to. And then I ended up getting out and then moving on to the other stuff, which was a great call. Not because regiment was bad, just I think it was a really good life path for me.
Right.
But there's people that, people listening, and I know people that you've met that are a really good example. And maybe you weren't there then, but now you think back on them now, you're like, oh, I should emulate what he was doing back then because he was a really good leader.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and I think that's the natural progression of experience, maturity, age.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. And that doesn't mean everyone that gains experience or maturity or age becomes a leader.
Yeah.
Right. Because there are just some people that are not good leaders but I think if you have those attributes, you've got to learn to be a follower first. Mm-hmm. You've got to learn how to take instruction, how to take orders and commands and do your job. Mm-hmm. And then, like you said, you see good leaders, you see bad leaders. I want to be like him, not so much like him. I like what he's doing, but he also, and you kind of pick and choose, and then you can build the kind of leader you want to be.
Oh yeah.
Which is pretty. I think that's the natural kind of order of where we come from and the path we've taken in life. Let's go to RASP. Let's go back to RASP.
Oh
and
yeah.
I want to continue
I
want to continue the Devin Soto origin story, right? Because I don't even really know, man.
Yeah.
So you end up meeting your recruiter in the gym. You've graduated high school.
I was still in high school.
You're still in high school.
Yeah.
And then did you like DEP in? Did you do delayed entry program or how did that work?
No. Basically, I graduated in the summer, right? Or however that works out, spring, summer.
Yeah.
Graduation stuff.
Yeah.
I don't remember either.
I don't remember.
And then I was working, I think it's funny, I was working at GNC, the local, like supplement place.
Yeah.
I was working there for like a year while in high school and while not. So did about 6 months there. Was planning for the community college thing, and then he got me all enrolled up, and just went January 11th, and I was training my butt off. Then went to basic, and it went really, really well. Yeah, basic, airborne, then RASP. I mean, you want to talk about basic and airborne at all, or I don't know.
Send it. Like
basic was interesting.
Basic was.
I had a really good. So I've got this theme all throughout my life. There's been downfalls, but then I've had really good leadership. So my drill sergeant was like that. He was solid. He was like really, really, really hard, but also a good leader where I think a lot of those guys in that role can just get angry.
Right.
Whatever. They're like,
yell.
wife's pissing them off at home. And they're
just going to take it out on you guys.
And they do.
Yeah.
They do. But basic was really good. It was kind of the same theme, which is pretty funny. Through basic, airborne, RASP. Never that top performer.
Yeah.
always pretty good.
You kind of want to be the gray man.
Yeah,
in a lot of that
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
You don't want to be like, you don't want to be the top guy, and you don't want to be at the bottom either. You
No.
know, like just blend right in the middle and be that kind of gray man.
Yeah.
And,
I just like to tell people that because when we're inspiring guys that we meet, you know, they always like, oh man, you're crushing it. You're doing all this. And like, it wasn't always that way.
Right.
Like struggling to get to those, even the PT standards trying to get a perfect PT score. Like a lot of guys, they're just like day one, their perfect score, you know, like I had to work and work and work and work. And actually what's funny is my last PT test in basic. So it's out of it was, now it's all different and everything. But it was out of 300 points. I got 299.
Oh,
that was 8 seconds too slow on that damn run.
Oh,
I'm not good at running. I'm actually better now. I'd probably crush it right now. But back then I sucked at it.
Yeah.
But either way, basic was good. Learned a lot about myself and how to push through. You know, a lot of guys would say it was easy. I don't know. I mean, I don't think it was that easy.
Right.
Like there were some pretty tough times for sure.
I think maybe guys say it's easy in retrospect to other things they did after the fact.
Yeah.
But the whole point of basic training is to not be easy.
Yeah, like to morph you into the soldier.
And I think as like a 18, 19-year-old, you know, young guy in basic training, like I think if you look back through those eyes, no one would say it's easy.
No, not at all.
You know?
Not at all. And then Airborne was a really good push for me because I was really afraid of heights.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Oh, yeah. So that was intense.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure.
Because it's only 3 weeks.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Like you get pretty much no time. And then
they're throwing you out of an airplane.
I don't know if do you know like the tower they like to practice?
I know of it.
There?
I've been to Benning. I've spent some time on Benning.
Yeah.
I did some knowledge transfer schools on Benning, which was pretty cool. Then I got to go to a couple different shooting schools. I got to go to a sniper school.
Oh, nice.
So I've spent a good amount of time on Benning, but I've never jumped the towers.
Yeah. You know those big ones though, right next to the Airborne school?
Yes.
So that's supposed to be like kind of get you acclimated to it. So I was like, okay, I'm going to hit that. Then I'll jump out of the plane.
Right.
But there was bad weather that week. So we didn't even do it.
Oh, you didn't even do the tower, just straight to the plane and send it.
Oh yeah. It was wobbly legs for sure. Out the door and everything worked out, obviously. Thank goodness, because a lot of guys get hurt.
Oh, yeah.
And we do a lot of jumps in regiment.
Yeah.
But either way, I remember before that first jump, there was a captain. I don't know exactly what unit he was in, but right before, you know, we all stood up and I was like, here we go. He just turned around and looked at me. He's like, no fear, brother. And I was like, all right, we got this.
Yeah.
And then jumped out. That was crazy.
But it's funny how one little statement from someone can be like, oh, yeah, we're good, you know? Yeah. And it was like I was back in Louisiana a couple weeks ago, and I was doing a ballistic shield assault course for a few of the full-time SWAT teams there, one of them being my old team. And one of the younger guy, he's your age. He's your age. He's in his early 30s, good dude, fit. I say fit, but he's like SWAT fit, so he's like jacked. Doesn't need to hump a long way, doesn't need to run a long way, needs to like drag equipment, drag people, take people into custody. Yeah. He's a smart dude. And one of the last few call outs we had was it came out as a rescue, as like a hostage rescue. Where a guy had gotten shot inside another guy's house, and he was like bleeding out in the doorway, and the other guy barricaded, and blah blah blah. Long story short, upon the breach, we go in there exigent. We put a charge on the door. We breach the door. The dude starts shooting at us immediately through the door, through the walls, all this stuff. We back out, and we're standing behind our Bearcat, and unfortunately, we could already tell that the guy was already dead. It wasn't a rescue. It was just a recovery now in a barricade. So we slowed everything down, and this young guy was like, dude, I'll never forget it. I'm like, Greg, he's shooting at us, man. I'm like, yeah, bro. Cool. He goes, why are you not scared? I was like, because he's only shooting at us. I've been shot at before. Let's go, you know? Yeah, and he's like, literally, you said that to me, and I saw the calm on your face, and I was like, oh, yeah, he's right. So it's like, it's amazing. Like, no fear, brother.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Oh, yeah, cool. Let's jump out of this airplane, you know? Right. So no injuries through jump school.
No, I did have one injury when I was at Battalion. But either way, yeah, nothing through jump school. That was a great experience. Got the 5 jumps in. That was awesome. Then, again, no holdovers. Well, actually, I was supposed to for RASP. It was a funny story. We were pretty sure we were the 2nd or 3rd RASP class. Because it was RIP, which was only 3 weeks. That was like the tough part. Then they made it RASP, which was, I mean, it was all tough, but the first month was to weed out the weaklings.
Right. Smoke show. First
Yeah. And the second month was the skills, which was also pretty tough. And I really like that they do that because it shows somebody has the competency to learn things. It's pretty important.
It's super. It's super important.
Yeah.
And I think it's a smarter way to do things. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of organizations kind of shifted to that model when they realized like just a 3-week smoke fest and then throw them to their unit for OJT. You're still dealing with a non-qual young wet behind the ear kid who's maybe physically tough, but he might be dumb as a box of rocks.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, you got to learn a lot when you get there and you got to be able to continue learning.
Absolutely.
But so it went from Airborne, then, the RASP instructors, they show up and who's going? It's like, oh man, here we go. So they brought us over to the barracks and I was supposed to be in holding for like 3 weeks or something just because they only allow so many people. Then the extra people, you're just there and they PT you and
right.
Basically you read the Ranger handbook and you do PT.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. A lot of
stand there.
A lot of running.
Oh yeah.
A lot of rucking.
Which I always sucked at.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so unfortunate that I'm pretty good at running now.
Dude, I hate running.
Yeah.
I'll get in a pool and I'll swim for an hour straight and I'll stop. I'll get in a pool and I'll go swim 5,000 meters without stopping. Dude, I hate running.
Yeah.
Hate it. I can go do it. But
my big downfall was I didn't fully understand, or maybe I understood what to do. I wasn't committed like, hey, I just need to start running more.
Right.
I would do it when they told us to, and then a little bit on the side, but I was just lifting weights.
Yeah.
And doing like, the workouts we do, which help with running, but it's not running.
It's not running. It's not running.
But yeah, so I showed up, and then there's a whole prescribed packing list that you're supposed to have, which we've been in Airborne school, so you don't have. And they're like, okay, well, you'll be in holding for a few weeks with these guys, and then great, you'll get your packing list. We'll PT you up, and then you'll start. And then went to bed, and like 2 a.m., they woke us up.
Oh.
And they're like, you're going to RASP today.
Right now.
Yeah. That was a big surprise.
So much for that packing list.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Well, basically, they let you figure it out. They helped us out, right? Yeah, we still paid for it. They basically brought us to us, or you got released for an hour to go to the PX and get your mat markers or whatever you need. This is funny thinking back about this. I haven't thought about it in so long. Yeah, so started. That was pretty damn tough. People dropped like flies really, really, really fast.
So how big was your RASP class when you started?
It was a little over 100 people,
if
I remember correctly. Yeah,
Okay.
I believe it got down to like 50 or 60. So it's about a 50% or so attrition rate.
Yeah.
And a good amount of those attritions are during the mental stuff, actually.
Okay.
So for me, the physical wasn't that bad. It was still really difficult. Like, obviously you're struggling and all that. But I think just more the continuous grind that first month where they're just on you nonstop, nitpicking every little thing, a million things, right? Oh, this guy had contraband. Okay, now you're ripping apart the barracks and whatever, staying up all night and running to and from chow, all the things that you do. Yeah. But it was in the middle of the summer, which was good because I'm good in the heat.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not that great in the cold, but I'm really good in the heat. So people had a lot of heat issues.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so they would quit or actually go down from heat issues and But yeah, for me, focused on the fitness, that was the thing I was good at. Rucking, I was really good at. Running, not so great, so that's where I struggled. But yeah, they do a PT test at the beginning and at the end. And then if you actually hang out for that first month and you don't quit and you can pass the PT test, and there was some competency with Cole Range, which is like a week-long FTX, basically. Yep. But it wasn't that difficult. Basically, if you don't quit, you're going to make it. And the second month, I thought was actually more difficult. There was like medical, radio, land navigation. There was some of that in the first month too, and vehicle stuff, which, I mean, the vehicle stuff wasn't too crazy. It was basically overlanding and Humvees and how do you do it? Pretty much everybody passed that. But the medical, the comms and the Ranger history was actually got some people for sure.
Yeah.
I got lucky in the comms.
Oh, yeah?
So they teach you all this stuff. You're all exhausted, right? you're crushed. And then like, I sprint to the classroom, you get in there, they teach you this stuff. And then it's like, okay, you got an hour to study or whatever, right? And then I was not feeling good about this test. So like they had radio set up, and when your group would go up, it's like, all right, program this. And then you do a radio check.
Yeah.
And I was thinking like, I'm about to be kicked out. Like it didn't click.
Yeah.
Later on, I became really competent with the radios, but just that amount of time for me with the radio, it wasn't there.
Under stress and all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm not really that great with electronics to begin with. Either way, I go up and I'm kind of like messing with it. And I was like, oh man, this is not good. And luckily, the guy before me didn't zero it out.
Oh, yeah. So it's our.
Yeah, so, the big scary.
Classic.
Big scary instructor is like, radio check. And I do it and it works.
And you're like, woo.
Yeah. And he's like, zero them out and,
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe
Good
whatever.
job, Soto.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, roger that.
Yeah. So medical, I was actually pretty good at.
Yeah.
But yeah, that comms test was tough. But yeah, either way, they're still pushing you. They're still smoking you.
Yeah.
And you still got to, again, do your PT test. But yeah, it was a really good experience.
Dude, it's funny because I felt the same way. I was horrible with comms. Horrible with comms. And like, even whether it was our police radios, we would have Motorola police radios, but same thing. 100 different channels. It was all encrypted, 100 different channels. And then we could go to talk channels and different secure channels. And I was like, just tell me what I need.
Yeah.
All right. This is District 1, District 2, District 3, District 4. This is this is SOD channel. Like, okay, this is state interrupt. Like, just tell me like 5 things that I need and how to get there. And then overseas,
you got to get more into it.
Go more into it. So we were still using Motorola's for team stuff, but we also had M-bitters. And then we had vehicle mobile radios in our vehicles that had crypto and BFTs, the Blue Force trackers, and like all this stuff. And I'm like, blew my mind. Not good at all. Like, just tell me what I need. Like, I would have a cheat sheet. I'd keep a cheat sheet in my kit, for what channels were what and where I needed to go. And like, were you ever in Iraq?
No. Well, after the military, but not when I was in the military.
So probably like same in Afghanistan though too. Like, we'd be traveling through Iraq and we would have to bounce to different repeaters and stuff. And so I had all that like written down, but I was horrible at it, dude. I was a dummy, like a dummy. I still am, dude. I'm horrible with electronics, but the medical stuff, I always loved, dude.
Oh, nice.
Always loved. And, it's probably same thing. Got to go to a lot of wet lab, like live, like pretty intense medical training. And I always loved it. I always kind of like, I think because I loved it, was passionate, I wanted to learn more about it. So like my aptitude for it was a little bit better than the radios. I was like, radios, you need to talk to people. That's pretty important.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And the guy that has that skill set is extremely valuable. Obviously, the medical stuff's important too. Yeah,
I think not as important as the radio, though. Like, like the radio can keep you from having to do medical.
Yeah,
like calling for fire and stuff like that, and like calling other units and whatnot. So that's interesting. So that was second phase of RASP, and then you went to 2nd Battalion.
Yep. So I got lucky. That's the one I requested, and I had some family up there, which I saw a couple times, but I really liked it because it was out of Georgia, right?
Right. Yeah.
Georgia's hot. And
you're not up in Tacoma,
Yeah. Like, I'd never actually been in that area, but I found it really, really, really exciting. Like, mountains, all the woodland terrain, all the hiking, all the new things to do, the ocean. I was like, I want to go check that out.
Yeah.
So got there. That was good, right? Brand new guy. Everybody else was on leave. So my platoon wasn't there. The platoon I was going to get assigned to. And then they came back a couple weeks later. And yeah, it was like all the squad leaders come in and we had like me and 3 other new guys and they picked whoever they wanted just by looking at you.
Yeah.
Which I thought was pretty funny.
How were you treated as a new guy?
Good and also really stern. So my first squad leader, he was a hardcore dude, which I think I probably needed that. He was hardcore.
Yeah.
And my first team leader was hardcore as well. And I was in weapon squad. And since we were going to get spun up to go on deployment like in a few weeks, it was like, we got to get this guy trained up. And I didn't know anything.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know anything at all.
Yeah.
Like barely how to operate a machine gun, right? Everything you do in basic and RASP. Like you get it.
Yeah.
But not to a high level.
Right.
So my team leader did a lot of extra training with me. It was pretty much like all day, every day to get me spun up. And then, new guy, shave your head for the deployment and everything.
Yeah.
But it was really, really good. I messed up a lot. Just like not knowing.
Yeah.
Because it's
within
my first. Oh yeah, intense smoke sessions. It was my first year in the Army, and now I'm overseas.
Yeah, with Ranger Battalion.
Yeah.
Ranger Battalion,
we were doing almost an op every night, which was a lot.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But thankfully, our platoon was so squared away.
Yeah.
Like my platoon sergeant, I think was probably one of the better ones in the battalion.
Okay.
Because Delta Company had kind of like that's what I was in Delta Company. And it was mostly Alpha Bravo Charlie. And they brought on Delta Company for more numbers, essentially. And then now it's not there anymore. They took it away.
Okay.
At least I believe so. Things change, right?
Yeah.
But so I think they might have put him there at first platoon because he was like, okay, we need guys that are squared away.
Right.
Because this is a whole new company we're making up.
Yeah.
Somebody's really got to be locked in. None of the traditions are there. None of the standards, stuff like that. So he was a really great leader. And it seemed like he put all the right people in place. And we were just like lights out at every mission, like extremely high success rate.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
All primarily reverse cycle nighttime hits.
Oh, yeah. We did a couple during the day, but pretty much all at night. Yeah. I remember, I just remember my first mission. That was pretty wild, right? Like, still first year, got the nods on. I got a single.
Okay.
Yeah.
Back you're running the 14, an old 14?
No, I can't remember what it was. It was something Delta or something, but I had thermal as well. Because I was a machine gun.
But on a single, huh?
Yeah, it was rad. It's like a tan nod.
Okay.
So it does night vision and thermal.
Okay.
It's legit. They're really expensive.
Yeah.
But they're like really nice.
Yeah.
And that was good for me so I can scan if there was a squirter. I could turn on the thermal and see really, really, really well.
And you said you're a machine gunner?
Yeah.
SAW or 240?
240 or Mark 48.
Yeah,
depend.
Mark 48.
I got really into the Mark 48 towards my last two trips when I was taking that team leader role and all that.
We had some of those downrange.
Oh, they're legit.
Dude, they're sick.
Yeah, like you can shoot it like a SAW.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
but it's got the big boy rounds.
Yeah, 7.62.
But yeah, first deployment went really well. We did a ton of operations. What was really cool, I feel like, so we were kind of like a SWAT unit. At that point, what are we talking? 2012, end of 2011, 2012.
Yeah.
The mission had changed where you got really good intel, hopefully, right?
Yeah.
And you know who you're going after. Doing a lot of silent hits or call outs,
Yep.
Yeah. So not like massive, like there's 30 dudes there, we're taking them out. No, it was very precise. And I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So when you're talking about the call out, it was reminding me, the tactic works.
A tactic, and that's what I think a lot of people out there don't understand is the capability of actual capability of special operations units that we have.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing they know about those units are from watching movies. Right?
Black Hawk Down.
Black Hawk Down,
Yeah.
Zero Dark 30, Active Valor, whatever, you name it, right? And then it goes the same thing with like bigger organization, bigger city, full-time SWAT teams. I don't think they just, it's just a SWAT cop, whatever. What is it? Like, you don't understand the capability that these organizations have. Mm-hmm. And then I know like when the Army started going to what they would call tactical call-outs, the unit, Delta, actually went to LAPD Metro Division, SWAT, to discuss with them and discuss how do you guys do call-outs? How does it work?
Nice.
So LAPD actually trained the unit in the call-outs and started implementing some of that.
Yeah.
So it's like we take tactics, techniques and procedures, TTPs from you guys take some from us, but the synergy between all of us is really like when the brass tacks hits, like we're kind of doing the same thing.
Yeah,
different environments, different rules of engagements, different budgets, but a lot of it when you're talking about higher level teams, I think is pretty interesting. My favorite story that I've ever heard from a buddy of mine that was in Ranger Regiment was he was a brand new guy. Same sort of story. He showed up and his unit was essentially gone. And he's like, I'm sitting in an empty like classroom in one of those little old metal plastic school chairs. He's like, I'm sitting there. And I can't remember what he said the rank of the guy that walked by the hallway open door was or anything like that. But he's like, this guy walked by and I just kind of looked up and nodded at him. Hey.
Oh.
And he turned, went in, and he's like, he just front boot kicked me right in the chest. Didn't say a word. Fucking boom, kicked me out of the chair, ass over tea kettle on the floor and said, don't you ever fucking talk to me, and walked out.
That's funny.
And just walked out, man.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, welcome to Ranger Regiment, I guess. New guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of my first trip we were combined with a Delta team.
Okay.
So got to learn a lot from them, and being a weapons squad guy, we got to go on a lot of hits with them.
Yeah.
Because they don't have that capability.
Right.
As much as we did, obviously.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you guys are doing pulling some perimeter security, stuff like that for them.
So that was really cool to do a lot of cross training with them and learn a ton. But then still, again, I'm only like 19.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like still don't know anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, learned a lot through that trip. A lot about how to do the job and a lot about how not to do the job. Because I was actually telling Braden this the other day. The other day we crushed like an epic workout with everybody at the gym. It was super intense. Then we went, that shoot house video you saw?
Yeah, yeah.
Where
was that?
Where
was that?
At the farm training center.
Oh, okay. Yeah, right on. Nice.
So about an hour away.
Yeah.
We did a solid like 4.5 hours of reps out there. And I was exhausted. And I was just telling him, like, this reminds me of back then.
Yeah.
Because it was, obviously we're doing PT every day, even though we're downrange.
Yep.
And you're doing operations almost every night. And we're training also during the day.
Yeah.
So it wasn't any downtime because it doesn't matter. Like every operation every night is a little bit different.
Yep.
So sometimes maybe the training would pertain to that, or maybe it wouldn't. Maybe we're going to have a day off, but you don't really have a day off.
No.
You're just not going on a mission now.
Exactly.
Now you're just going to train or hit the range.
Yeah.
Or all that stuff.
Or all that stuff. Or mission plan, intel briefs, like on nights or times where we weren't doing operations. And this is contracting overseas, obviously. We're in the team room, maintaining gear. We're going, studying, doing map studies, studying intelligence, planning ops, all this stuff, working, cultivating informants, going and doing PDSSs or surveillance on targets and stuff. So even though we weren't on, it is always something. But it's funny because kind of same thing when I was back in Louisiana for a week. I felt like I was back at work. Yeah, and this chick here, she was the happiest she's ever been because she was a full work dog for a week.
Bet.
We'd get up every morning. We'd grab our gear, load it up in the rental SUV. We'd drive to the training site. The training site had a full gym in it. We'd do a workout together as a team. We'd get jocked up in all our gear. She'd get jocked up. We'd start doing runs in the house, start working with the shields, doing runs in the house, both slow, deliberate stuff. And then we also did some exigent and hostage rescue stuff. And then we'd insert a decoy in a bite suit as a bad guy role player. And she's just doing runs with us all day, every day. Just work dog, just running the shoot house with us. We're running the shoot house. And then at the end of the day, you're smoked, exhausted. Sit there, debrief, go back, clean up, shower, eat a good dinner, in bed by like 8:30, 9 o'clock, rinse and repeat. So it was awesome.
Exactly.
But I was smoked. And I'll tell you, kind of going back to this is kind of a young man's job. I can still do it. But man, a week of wearing a helmet and nods and battery and dude, my head, neck hurt, bro. Yeah. It was like, I was like, all right, maybe I'm too old for this. Maybe I just need to leave it to the younger guys. But it was cool.
Yeah.
It was fun.
And like on that note, learning how to operate at such a high level, obviously the mission is one thing, but just the training environment and the tempo, I think was a really good thing I gained from being there. Yeah. Because there are other places, but not very many other organizations will work you like that.
Right.
And that's why I think like for a young guy, like Ranger Regiment is like the best choice, I would say. Yeah. Obviously I'm biased, but like our couple guys in the gym, they're like, they got a lot of options. They're looking at SF or Ranger or maybe SEAL contracts and stuff. And I don't know much about what they do. I'm pretty sure it's pretty similar, but either way, I always tell them like, dude, go the Ranger route. They're going to show you how to stay dedicated to something. Yeah. Then go somewhere else because how locked in they're going to, you say you're locked in. They're going to make you locked in. They're going to kick you out. Yeah. Or now I'm not.
You're either locked in or you're RFS,
So now you know what your limits are. And I think it just really taught me as a young man, like how hard I could push and how to stay locked in when you don't want to be locked in. Like, yeah, basic, Airborne, RASP were tough, but that first trip, like that was some serious work, way tougher than all the other stuff.
Well, also there's a legitimate like risk now.
Yeah.
There are catastrophic results if you don't do your job well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's
sure.
And I was telling someone this the other day, and it's like, and I wasn't boo-hooing or anything, but I was like, for almost 20 years of my life, I kind of had to be perfect every day.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't fault. And I say that facetiously a little bit because when you're young, you mess up, you screw up, you make mistakes, right? You get absolutely hammered and smashed for it. Hopefully your mistakes aren't big enough or grotesque enough to where you injure someone or someone else or yourself. And you learn from them and you don't make that mistake again. You can make a mistake once in all these organizations, right? Don't make it a second time.
Yeah.
But it was like for 20 years, I kind of had to be perfect.
Yeah.
You can't really screw up, too badly. And man, that's a heavy weight to bear.
Hey guys, this episode is brought to you by Firecracker Farm. So I'm on a primarily carnivore diet, and a massive staple of my diet is rock salt. And that's all this is, rock salt, and there's different blends, ghost peppers, reaper peppers, scorpion peppers. It's not overpowering, it's not too spicy. Put this on my ribeye steak, heavy coat, get a nice char on it, but it just enhances the flavor of everything that you're making. Comes in a small, compact grinder. You can bring it hunting, you can bring it on your motorcycle, camping, you can bring it out to your favorite restaurant. The stuff is absolutely awesome. It's small batch, family made, family owned company. Firecracker.farm. Are we boring you? Lily loves it. I love it. Go check it out. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. I like that you brought that up because that's actually something I know we're kind of going forward a little bit, but with Tactical Cowboy and Performance and Recovery Group, like with the coaches and the mentors and everybody we work with, I kind of like put that intensity onto them, you know?
Absolutely.
Because it is life or death.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure my wife and my baby can do whatever they want. They're completely taken care of. Make sure all my employees are taken care of. Everybody's good to go. And that takes like max dedication.
Dedication.
Even though your life's not on the line, we'll put it a good way. It's not life necessarily, but it's livelihood.
Yeah.
Which is pretty freaking important.
Absolutely. It's pretty important. And then to go beyond that too, like your clients.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not switched on coaching them, watching them lift, and they try to do something overhead and their form's bad or whatever, and then they smash, like they injure themselves.
Yeah.
Or you're out on the range shooting or in the shoot house, something like that. And that's something that I preach a lot with the shooting courses that I teach. And, I'm like, guys, if you came out here to like hang out with someone you think is cool on Instagram or YouTube, like your priorities are in the wrong spot.
Mm-hmm.
If you came out here to gain a skill set today, gain a capability, and you're open-minded to do that, okay, now our priorities are correct because I'm not out here to entertain you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not out here to take pictures and entertain you and, or whatever, like, oh, I'm hanging out with Mike Glover or I'm hanging out with Devin Soto or whatever.
Yep.
Like, I'm here to teach you something.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I'm here to teach you something. We can have a little fun too, but I'm here to teach you something. I'm here for you to walk away because it could be life or death.
Yeah.
And today could be the day.
Yeah, 100%. Well, they showed up to train. They paid money to be there to get better. Now, some people show up to hang out.
Dude, it's crazy, man.
But you can help morph their idea about training.
Right.
And like, okay, this is serious.
Right.
Like, we're going to have fun afterwards.
Right.
But right now, these 5-6 hours we spend, we're going to get after
I'm
it.
going to push your limits and you're going to learn.
Yeah,
right? And
exactly.
you're going to learn. So, yeah, it's pretty interesting. So, went to Afghanistan, 2nd Ranger Battalion. You were a machine gunner.
Yep. So, yeah, I was there for 5 years. I got to do 4 trips, which was really awesome.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a lot of pumps. And
yeah. Well, we were cranking them out.
Yeah.
And just the timing of when I got, because, I got in and then we went immediately.
Right.
That's really what helped me. Most guys would get like 2 to 3 in.
Okay.
But I got really lucky. So.
Nice. And then you got out of the Army.
Yep.
Right. Did you get hazed a lot in Ranger Battalion?
Of course.
Yeah.
Mostly for smiling all the time.
Dude. Mostly for
Straight up.
Did you have a nickname?
I don't remember a nickname necessarily. I know one of my platoon sergeants, I think it was like 3rd or 4th trip in.
Yeah.
So I was starting to get like really confident.
Yeah.
So I was like the Mark 48 guy, even when we go on operations with smaller teams, because you're going really high in elevation.
Yeah.
I would still be there, right?
Yeah.
And I was getting extremely competent with the machine guns, especially the Mark 48.
Yeah.
Like that was my thing. And like as a machine gun team leader, I even went out to Tactical Taylor out in Tacoma.
Yeah.
They've got other locations, right?
I
I think, or is that the main one?
That's the main one because Logan Coffey, I think he was the founder of Tactical Taylor, if I'm not mistaken. And then he passed in a car accident. You remember that?
No.
Oh, yeah.
No.
So, yeah. Or am I thinking Eagle? No, that's Tactical Taylor. I'm pretty sure. If you know, hey, Brandon, can you look that up?
It's like Joe Rogan now.
Yeah, exactly. Tactical Taylor. I'm pretty sure the owner was Logan Coffey.
I like that.
And
these guys on standby.
Yeah, they're right there. Yeah, Tactical Taylor. Logan Coffey.
Wow.
Does it say when he passed? I think 2008. Yeah, so he passed in a car accident, but Tactical Taylor still existed. Obviously, it got picked up and great gear because I've got a whole bunch of old Tactical Taylor stuff too. So anyway, so you went to Tactical Taylor.
Yeah, because I was getting really into it, and at that point, I did some time also as a rifleman, and now I'm the TL with the Mark 48. Like this is serious. And then obviously doing stuff with 240s and barrel changes and assistant gunner stuff, which my squad was really, really good. We did some like battalion competitions and we came out on top or always up there against some other machine gun teams. But how we did that, a big part of it was I went there because I was like, I want to be the best. I was like starting to get in that mindset. It's like 22, 23, like starting to get there. Like I'm taking ownership of myself. Yeah. And I went and got a custom AG bag made.
Yes.
And we were just blowing everybody. Like, 'cause, everything's for time. And because obviously you need to get the gun up fast.
Yeah.
But then just like competition shooting, you'll all get together and compete with each other to see who can do it the best.
For sure.
And my gunner was lights out. So he was squared away. So it was on me to make sure everything was organized in a way under night vision, barrel changes, relinking his ammo. And I got this custom bag made. They still got it.
Yeah.
Or at least I think they do. I left it at Battalion.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden, like, boom, we were like twice as fast as everybody else. So maybe they went and got some more of them.
Yeah.
But he made like a custom sleeve for the hot barrels and
nice.
a custom way to hold the ammo.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you ever messed with them, but the AG bags, the old ones, were basically like a folded up thing.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
Yeah.
It's like, this doesn't make sense. And like your rounds and your hot barrels, you don't want those to interact.
No, because then you get cook-offs. And
Yeah. So anyways, I was getting really into it. Not really sure where I was going with that, but.
You're talking about carrying a machine gun. You're basically getting selected to go on these other ops as the machine gunner, and then going up to Tactical Taylor to get your bag done. Just again, we talk about 1%, be 1% better.
Yeah.
And like gear doesn't make the man, but it can certainly help if you're competent and technically proficient. Gear can help for sure.
Oh, 100%. I mean, yeah. Just look at your holster setup, right? You have like a crappy little leather holster concealed. It's going to take a long time to get out versus a really clean holster setup.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. I just got some new holsters in the last couple of days that are sick.
Nice.
Man. Yeah. So
I think where I was going with it was just kind of talking about the level of professionalism I was starting to grasp. I wasn't there yet.
Yeah.
I was starting to take that ownership. And then our team, our squad was all super squared away. Really, really good dudes. My gunner actually ended up he was making his way up the ranks after I got out, and he ended up losing his life, unfortunately. But that dude, Leandro Hasso, was a badass machine gunner.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I didn't have to worry about anything.
Dude,
well, because we did so many reps together.
Right.
And he was like lights out. I'd say out to like 800.
Yeah.
Which is pretty good.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
For a 240.
Yeah.
And I was lights out on everything. And it was really cool also. Our entire squad was mostly older guys. Like, my buddy Leandro, he was early 20s, but I was getting 23 now. We got a couple new guys that were in their 30s. My squad leader, weapon squad leader, is generally going to be the most seasoned guy.
Yeah.
And the team leaders were all squared away. We'd all been together for this is like our 4th trip in a row now all together. So it was a really good time.
Cohesiveness was like
locked
in.
And it just showed me how high of a level you could get with people when everybody actually cares, which is pretty rare to find.
That is absolutely super
in a
rare
lot
to
of
find.
teams.
And that cohesiveness and that teamwork where everyone is providing their skill set, their job to the highest level they can.
Yeah.
And look, if you can't, sorry, this ain't for you. Leave.
Straight up.
And it's not about, that's kind of one thing that I've gotten more comfortable with or have learned as I've gotten older is like, it's not really wrong or mean to like cut dead weight away. You got to do it. Otherwise, dead weight's going to weigh you down and maybe get you killed.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I've had to have that conversation with a few guys where, you know, like I said, I try to hold all my guys in the gym and especially on the tactical side because it's extremely important and there's such minute details.
Yeah.
And I really want them to lead by example, which means you have to perform at an extremely high level.
Yep.
I've had to have that conversation where it's like, hey, man, here's all the opportunity, but you really got to step up. You really got to step up. I'm going to help you and this or that and come train with us. And some people step up and some don't, which is okay. You know, it's tough, though, because you like them, but you're like, bro, I want you to take this, you know, but sometimes
I have
they
a saying that I like to use, and it's he makes a good neighbor.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's like that conversation. People say he was a good guy.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
Right? He makes a good neighbor, right?
Yeah.
I got some great neighbors. I'll maybe even like walk outside, have a beer with them while the kids are riding their bikes in the street or something. I don't want to take them into a gunfight with me.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want them working for me, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
he makes a good neighbor. Cool.
Yeah.
Nice guy. Not a problem. But I don't need you on my 6 going through a door.
Yeah.
You know, or representing my business or whatnot. So that's funny, man. I love the Mark 48. I love the 240.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, such a reliable, robust weapon system. And I still remember all the 7-point check and everything and all that stuff and feed tray, you know, all the pawls, the feed pawls, you know, all that stuff. So,
well, I think people don't think about that enough. I mean, because most people can't get them, I guess, is the real reason.
Yeah, exactly.
Which, I mean, that'd be cool if that changed. But then again, they're so expensive. I'd get one. I'd figure it out.
Fieldcraft will buy one.
How much is a Mark 48? 10 grand?
At least. At least, yeah.
Yeah.
I would say at least.
Yeah, but
No, we'll take two.
When guys talk the tactical realm, I think that support by fire, that overwhelming force, is never talked about because most people we're talking to, even the LEO guys, most of the time they don't have the capability.
For sure.
But once you can get that capability,
it's amazing. It really is amazing what you know, 2 machine gun teams, talking guns, can do. And like for me, obviously, I came primarily out of law enforcement, but I spent probably close to 8 years contracting overseas.
Yeah.
So I got to, I carried a Parasaw in the early days. Then we went to Mark 46s and Mark 48s. I had a 240 for a while and taught the 240. So I've got a really healthy amount of experience on belt feds between, you know, the original old school Parasaws, which I had a love-hate relationship with my saw because
it just didn't run that well.
Yeah, they just like it always broke. Like, dude, you'd lose one little spring like that from a feed pawl.
Oh, you're done. Yeah.
And the gun's done. Like, how is dude, I got this badass belt fed, open bolt, gas operated belt fed machine gun, and I lose a spring this big, and then now the thing doesn't work. Come on, man.
You want to hear a funny story about a belt fed? You said open bolt. This reminded me of it. Back in basic training. So, you know, they introduce, you know, belt feds, right?
Yeah.
Open bolt. And then they're talking you through the terminology and the 7-point inspection and all these things.
Yeah.
And then we're on the FTX. And, you know, you just see it in a massive classroom when you're like probably trying to stay awake so you don't get smoked.
Right.
And then we're out there and we've been shooting rifles for a while. And now we just got these. And I remember my buddy, actually, maybe he wasn't a good friend because maybe I would have done a little bit different. But I didn't really know the guy. We were on the same platoon, right?
Yeah, at the time.
And he's like, hey, it's like 4 of us there. He's like, how do I load it? And I'm trying to think back because you're like, remember, if you chamber that, you're screwed, right? It's with blanks. But none of us could remember. We're all privates, like in basic. We don't know anything.
Yeah.
So one of the guys was like, I mean, I think you put one in the chamber, you know, like with like the rifle. And then I was like, I don't know.
I don't know, man.
I don't really know the other way, and then he goes, pop.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Just ND's a blank right there, just trying to load the thing because he doesn't know.
I mean,
yeah. Pretty sure he got kicked out.
Yeah, at least it was a blank, but still.
That poor guy.
Oh, man. Yeah, dude. Fucking, Yeah, open bolt. I mean, if you don't know what you're doing, it can be sketch for sure.
Yeah,
You know?
that's always stuck with me. What a funny, just the 4 dudes standing there didn't know what the hell they're doing. Yeah, they're like, make sure everybody's loaded and make ready. So you're like, okay,
you're like,
better,
God dang
they're gonna
it.
come around and inspect.
That's right. Yeah. Oh, that's funny, dude. Yeah, but you know that, like you said, like if you're used to shooting rifles, standard closed bolt, and now you're dealing with an open bolt machine gun. If you're not familiar with it, it's a very different operating weapon system.
Oh yeah,
and it's more finicky and probably a little more dangerous, if you will.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
so
Runaway gun, that could happen.
Runaway
I've never
gun.
experienced it, thankfully, but I've seen it.
I've never experienced it either. Fortunately, I've never even seen one in person. I've heard stories, but I've never seen a runaway gun in person, short of an AK.
Oh wow.
Yeah, which I'll tell you, that was in Baghdad in Iraq. We had all these old AKs, and we would just like pick AKs up and try, see which ones were reliable back in the early days. And we're all standing around after range day, and one of the guys had this little shorty AK. And we're literally just standing there. And, you know, with the switch, usually you're not holding it like an M4. You're usually holding it with either your thumb like this, so you can actuate the safety selector switch on it, or some guys can have their fingers on it, right? So it's a little bit different than how you're holding M4 with the safety selector on the thumb side. And we're all just standing around, all of a sudden, bah, 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 and it literally just rips off. Whoa. The sear just slipped, dude. Old worn-ass AK.
Sketch.
And it just slipped, and he was like, whoa.
Dang, do you have a sling or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, he was controlling.
Could probably.
Fortunately, he was controlling the weapon too, man. But like, that's why I always teach like 2 points of control. Like, if your rifle's slung, you need to have another hand on the gun.
Yeah.
Like if you're doing something with your right hand, okay, rifle slung, I'm holding the forend. All right. I'm like always 2 points, because if it's just swinging on a sling, dude, eat your leg up, eat your foot up.
Those recoil a pretty good amount too. So that was,
Yeah, they jump.
AKs are not easy to shoot.
We're all like backed up. We're like, what the fuck, man?
Real full auto AKs, they're fun.
Oh yeah,
but they're tough to shoot. But like not very accurate.
Not very accurate at all. Not very reliable. They work, but not very accurate.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's funny, man. So you do your deployments. Any specific deployment stand out? Any specific op stand out? Like funny stuff, cool stuff. I always like funny, goofy stories rather than like no shit. There I was, man, knee deep in hand grenade pins. Like cool. Everyone's got their war stories, but like I had to take a crap on target. Like that's always the good.
Oh,
ones.
everybody's done that. At least if you've done enough.
Yeah.
Maybe one, but honestly, throughout the entirety of the military time, like I said, we were just so proficient. Like we had a couple guys get a couple Purple Hearts. Yeah. One of them was fairly serious, through and through to the arm. The other one was just a graze wound. Okay. But with the engagements we got in, we were just like lights out. And I think it's because our team trained so much together. Again, back to that training environment. Yeah. And you're under nods, right? As soon as enemy force comes at us in any different way, they do it a bunch of different ways, obviously, everybody's on them. Yeah. Right? The team's always oriented in the proper orientation, and then guys can just bring up their rifles or a 48, send some rounds, that dude's ducking or he's down, and then you assault forward. Right. Easy day, right? Yeah. I would say a funny story, lots of success, right? Yeah. I think it was like a 96% success rate over those times, which was pretty cool. Really, really good leadership. Yeah. But a funny story would have been on my first trip, again, brand new guy, rocking the 240, and they don't do it this way now. But back then, maybe they do actually, I don't know. But back then, if you were a brand new guy, you didn't even have a radio. Your team leader would just tell you what to do, which works, right, most of the time. So we're coming in on this target, and the 47 announced over the radio that they're going to land in a different orientation. Right. So the plan was, everybody, we're going right. And then there's going to be all the different buildings and they're numbered and you're going to building this and you're going to building that and we're good. Right. But they switched that plan just because something going on the ground and I didn't know. Right. So who knows? Maybe it could have been my fault. Maybe he told me. I don't know. Most of those flights, you're just sleeping anyways, right?
Oh, dude, it's funny. Bro, I had this talk the other day because someone was like, are you like fidgeting, nervous? I'm like, dude, I slept. Yeah. I slept on every infill. Yeah. Dude, I'd sleep on every infill, whether we're driving in, whether we're flying in. I literally just Like hang my head and
Straight
fall
up.
asleep.
Yeah,
dude.
like you get the brief and you're like, oh, nice, 30-minute flight. Sick.
That's it. Nap time, bro.
Yeah, I get nobody's yelling at me. I'm not have to do anything. I could just chill.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, we land and then I went right. And then, helicopter's going, so there's a lot of commotion going on, so you can't see much around you. And I see a building, and I'm like, yeah, that looks pretty much like the GRG was. So I sprint over there, and then the helicopter takes off, and I'm like, there's nobody else around me. Because it was a pretty complex compound.
Yeah.
Either way, with my studying of the map, because as a new guy especially, they're like, you're studying that map for hours.
Yeah.
Because also you want to make sure you're good to go, but
For sure.
your squad leader or team leader is like, dude, if you don't go the right way,
You're
going to get messed up.
yeah.
What's funny enough is I'm out there kind of doing some solo CQB. Like, I don't know, which I'd never been taught. We all did team stuff. Now I'm pretty proficient at that. Looking back on it, I'm like, I guess it was pretty good. So like windows and doorways. And I was like, oh man. But then I was like really looking at stuff. I actually ended up at the position before my team leader. It was
so
sick.
you were in the right position, but you got there before everybody
I just went
else.
a different route.
Okay.
Yeah, I kind of went through the village. Look,
By
remembering the
yourself?
map. Yeah, I was straight up with the 240. Clearing with the 240 and one nod, Yeah, I got there and then I'm like looking, I'm like, this looks right. This looks like the building we're supposed to be staged on. Like, I feel pretty good about this. And then I hear somebody rolling up and I'm like, oh crap, like, is this about to get real? And it was him. He came through the wood line. He's like, oh, Soto, you made it. I wasn't sure where you were at. How'd you get here so fast? I was like, I was just ready. Sorry, And yeah.
Map study.
Yeah. Which actually did save me in the end, right?
Yeah.
But that's just a good way to think about preparation is key.
Well,
Because if I didn't know the map, that could have been really
could
bad.
have been
right?
really bad. And
Yeah.
it's interesting that that's the story because you and I have talked about this and we hear it all the time, right? Never enter a room by yourself. Never do one-man CQB. Never do this. Never do that. Never. Dude, in kinetic situations, in combat, in any sort of kinetic, whether it's stateside, shit happens sometimes.
Oh yeah.
That you can't even you can't train for, and it just happens, or mistakes happen, and you just fix it on the fly. And you went and basically fixed a mistake on the fly that you didn't even really know was a mistake, but because of your preparation, it worked. And I say this all the time, and I was the same way when I was a young guy contracting overseas. I would sit in my hooch on Falcon View.
Yeah.
Remember Falcon View? Did you
of
have
course.
Falcon View?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They use different stuff now.
Yeah.
But I would sit on Falcon View and I would study everything till I knew everything like the back of my hand. And it saved our ass one day because I had to get to a target fast to QRF some guys. And the normal route they always took to that target was like a 10-minute loop box around. And I'd done a map study and I knew there was one road that had some T-walls that you had to zigzag through and had local militia guarding it. But I knew that road went straight to the target. And prior to the op at that target, I went there with one of my teammates and our terp. And I met with the local militia guys just to break bread, brought them some stuff.
Oh,
and
of course.
And I was like, hey guys, this is, if you ever see us, just if you can wave us through with my terp. And they're like, yeah,
Nice.
and dude, it saved. And they're literally, I turned down this road. They're like, Lappin, where the fuck are you going? I was like, I got this. I know exactly where I'm fucking going. Just trust me. And then they're like, holy shit, we're at the target. I'm like, yeah. So it's just, again, like you said, preparation is key.
Yeah. And then when I was in, kind of doubling down on almost felt like SWAT, right? Like that, the call outs, the known targets. Right. We're going to get this guy trying actually to capture, not always kill. The ROE was different too. It wasn't just anybody you see that's a man.
Right.
Yeah. No, it was really strict rules of engagement, just trying to add in a lot of that professionalism.
Yeah.
I think at that time they were focusing on that. But it was really just cool to, kind of getting a little bit of action stories. Everybody was so prepared. Like every single engagement we got in, it was just like everybody, your entire squad online sending rounds like that.
Yeah.
It was sick. So people will ask, were you ever nervous or scared? I would say the first one I was nervous, right? Because I'd never done it.
For sure.
But after that, the confidence that you can build with a team preparing together.
Yeah.
Never once felt scared, worried. Even when our couple buddies got injured, great, patch him up. He's gone. Continue with the mission.
Yep.
And I don't know. I just don't think many people get that experience in anything in life, which
With anything, in
Yeah.
any business or anything.
Just sad.
Well, you just don't. I mean, those organizations, they attract, they vet and weed out, and then they build high functioning individuals.
yeah.
That's their focus, you know, and you don't have a whole lot of organizations that do that
Yeah.
in any other realm than like special operations.
That's true. And they
Which is-
make you stay high functioning.
And if you don't, guess what? If you can't stay high function, boom,
Yep.
see ya.
Released for standards.
Seek
you know?
life elsewhere. Go
Yeah,
somewhere
even
else.
if you're a seasoned guy.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no, again, like, oh, well, he's a good dude. So no, bro, like,
Yeah.
can you do the job or can you not? And I kind of live my life that way. And a lot of people think that might be harsh.
Yeah, I do the
But-
same thing. It is harsh sometimes.
Maybe.
But maybe it's a good harsh, right?
It's a
Maybe
good harsh, but also it comes down to it. And it's like, I hate to say it, we got to worry about number one first. We've got to be a little selfish. You want to take care of your family. You want to take care of your friends, your loved ones. You want to take care of yourself and remain at a high level. You got to be a little selfish.
Yeah. Well, when you operate at that high level, you can take care of everybody else so much better too. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you got one person dragging you down. And you've heard you're the sum or you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most amount of time with.
Yeah.
So if you've got one person out of that 5 that's like always getting in trouble, always having issues, always having problems, maybe, you know, addiction issue or whatever, like that's bringing down your average, dude, big time.
Yeah.
And like, do we want to help those people? Sure. But if they're not willing to accept help, cut away, dude.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Sorry, man. Like you got to go, dude.
For sure.
So it's a shame. So then after Ranger Battalion, did you go right into contracting?
No, I did college.
You did college.
Yeah,
oh, that's
which was
right.
awesome. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, kind of at the end of that time frame, I was starting to, I would say, become a man. Like, oh, okay, I can handle myself. Again, that's why I think regiment's a great place for a 19-year-old.
Yeah.
Where they will make you do the right thing no matter what.
Right. So you're
then
what,
you
24,
can start to,
25?
Yeah. So got out when I was 24, and then went to University of Illinois for 2 years for their kinesiology program, which is like exercise science. Yep. It was really cool because as a kid, I can't remember what grades I got, but they weren't that incredible. So they're not memorable, right?
Yeah.
Just wasn't really into it. Nothing really inspired me. PE inspired me. Yeah. Maybe the woodworking classes and the engineering classes and the fitness classes inspired me. But besides that, it was like, okay, well, school.
I was
right?
the same way, dude.
Yeah. And then college was better because it was more focused. So in my actual classes to push me towards my degree, my curriculum, I was crushing it. And I was actually at the second year of U of I able to get into their senior level classes.
Nice.
Which was cool. But the other classes, I was getting B's and C's on because I'm like, I don't care about this history. Like,
hey, bro,
remember one class was like the history of China, and I'm like, this is so stupid.
Hey,
like,
bro, that's passing, dude.
Yeah. But, you know, maybe if you're like a DOD guy, maybe the history of China could benefit you, right?
That's true, yeah.
Yeah. And thinking about some like world conflicts, I did learn some things from that class. I'm like, oh, I do understand that.
Yeah.
But I just wasn't super enthused about it. But did the first 2 years at the University of Illinois, ended up getting in with the professors. They started to like me. So I was like, hey, I really want to take these higher level classes like nutrition for performance, elite athlete supplementation, stuff like that. And I got into them and, you know, got A's. It was great. Then I realized that program might not have had enough for me because if I was a sophomore or my first semester of sophomore year, crushing these senior level classes, well, where are we going from here?
Right, exactly,
you know?
yeah.
Because kinesiology is like the study of human movement, which is good, but from my perspective, it was a little bit too easy. I think just because that stuff came so natural to me from being so into the fitness.
Right.
So then I looked into other colleges, and University of Colorado had more of a pre-med program focused on that, what I was doing, but much more that human physiology, holistic approach. So I applied there, got in, did my last 2 years of schooling there. That's where I met Jackie.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, and that was awesome. So I really enjoyed college because it made me actually have to perform and think and be consistent on my own.
Yeah.
Where regiment does that for you.
Right.
You still got to show up.
Right.
But everything is lined out for you.
Yeah.
Where college was very much more like, okay, now you've learned how to apply yourself to something. Now you actually have to do it on your own.
Yeah.
And I remember for my grandfather passed away, I was having this conversation with him where I was like, oh, I'm actually crushing school now, you know? And I was talking to him like, yeah, I just don't know what was going on with me in high school. I just didn't really care. He's like, back then you didn't even know how to apply yourself to something.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Now you know how to apply yourself to something, which sort of gave me that light bulb. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
maybe I could do other things too.
Yeah.
So college was great. Also coached a lot of fitness teams. So I was really into like fitness stuff, obviously CrossFit style training, Olympic weightlifting, got really into that.
Nice.
And at both colleges started a weightlifting team where we'd go do competitions, like big ones like the Arnold Classic and state matches and stuff. That's kind of where I started doing what I'm doing now, where it's like bringing people together, teaching them, holding each other to a really high standard, building that camaraderie that I had when I was in Battalion.
Yeah.
So I started to figure out how to do that on my own.
Nice.
So yeah, college was rad. I had a good time.
Yeah. So graduated college, kinesiology.
So yeah, I guess the first 2 years in kinesiology, finished with the degree in exercise and human physiology.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
All the same stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smart stuff.
It was
smart.
good.
You're smart too, man.
It was good, but on those subjects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'd say,
the boring subjects,
yeah.
I'm like,
Whatever. Yeah. And so then you got out of college. You graduated college.
yeah. So that again, really, really well. I was thinking about joining my wife for physical therapy. Kind of like, what route do you go in that exercise, science, physiology field?
Right.
It's tough because a personal trainer
Doesn't make a lot of money.
doesn't
It's
make
like,
a
how
lot
do
of
you-
money. It's really hard to get in with who you want to be with, which would be elite athletes.
Right. Yeah.
Right. I mean, everyday athletes like we work with here are amazing. Back then, I was more so focused on, I want to train some
I get that.
elite people.
Yeah. And no offense to anybody, like a high performer doesn't really want to be doing like 5 pound, like, front raises with a 67-year-old woman.
Yeah.
I get that.
It's not super attractive back then.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, well, maybe I could be a really amazing strength conditioning coach, which I'm doing now, and I could have been, but you got to go through years of intern work.
Right.
Like years and years and years. So I was like, where do you actually take this career, right? And where it came out was, well, maybe becoming a doctor of physical therapy could be it. Get in with a sports team. They get paid really well. It's a really good job. I started shadowing some friends that I trained with that were already doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was okay. It was all right. It was a lot of making people do things that these people didn't even want to do these things, which I don't like that.
It kind of goes back to,
In a way, yeah.
But it kind of goes back to also like you said, being a strength coach. Like as a physical therapist, unless you get into this little niche of like working with pro athletes, you're rehabbing the 70-year-old that fell and hurt their hip.
Yeah, exactly. And does she even want to get better?
Right.
That's one of our big things at PRG we harp on. We have people come in for a workout. Yeah, so you can get to know us, but so we can get to know you. Like I've turned some people down. It's like, hey man, you don't bring good energy. You don't really act like you want to be here. So please come back, bring that energy, act like you want to be here, and we'll let you in on this awesome deal or whatever. But
Yeah. If you want to. Dude, it's funny because I said we do a 2-week trial.
Oh, yeah.
Right? You have to pay for it. I don't do free trials at the Jiu-Jitsu Academy.
Yeah.
Anything that's free isn't worth a shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I do a 2-week trial. You pay for. Man, I'm schwagging. You do a 2-week trial, and I always joke, the trial's not for you guys to try us out. The trial's for us to try you out and see if we like you enough to let you stay and sign up afterwards,
Yeah.
And they joke and they laugh, but I'm actually kind of serious.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Because I've told people, hey, man, I don't think we're a good fit for you. I think you should maybe find another gym.
Yeah.
Because you can't let one person taint your culture.
Mm-hmm. And that could happen really easily.
Yeah, for sure.
And I know you're the same way. Like what we've got here at Jiu-Jitsu and PRG is incredible, and all the people are incredible. Yeah. And you want to train with those type of people that are motivated and that want to be there. We've got one bad egg in there. It's just like,
And then everybody's like, oh, they're here. Right?
Yep.
And it brings the whole vibe down. So I'm like,
it happens quick.
Sorry, man.
Yeah.
Find another place.
But college was ending and I was planning to go that route. I was filling out applications. And then one of my Ranger buddies, Hugh, great guy, super squared away. Another guy that did 5 years, then got out, kind of like me. Big in the machine guns, so we had a lot of similarities. And we were chatting, we were catching up on the phone, And he was just like, hey, man, like, what have you been up to? What are you trying to go for after college? And I told him, he's like, hey, well, if you want to come work with me, I'm doing this thing right now. It's really, really cool. And he couldn't tell me much about it, you know?
Yeah.
And probably shouldn't get too into it because I'm still within a certain time frame.
Are you? Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, we can skirt around. We'll skirt around the issue. Yeah.
But either way, he gave me what he could tell me
Yeah.
and got me connected with a recruiter.
Nice.
And it was actually pretty funny. He gave me the shooting standards.
Yeah.
Which
okay.
I mean, I hadn't been shooting at all.
Dude, hard.
Oh, yeah.
Hard.
So I remember like the pistol. We don't just shoot much pistol in regiment at all.
Yeah.
Like at all.
Yeah.
Badass riflemen, machine gunners,
Right.
snipers, but pistol,
Not so
maybe they're
much.
more squared away now. I've seen some new RASP videos where they're doing a lot of pistol, it seems like. But back then, it wasn't that much. So I go to, okay, I need to be ready for this. I think I was like 4 or 5 months out, right? And I go, okay, I got a Glock 17. I had one pistol. That's all the only gun I had.
Yeah.
I don't have a rifle, nothing. So I go to the range. Man, indoor ranges suck, by the
Horrible.
way.
I
They
hate-
treat you horrible.
dude, I hate
They treat you
shooting
like an idiot. I've never been to an indoor range.
Yeah.
I've been to ranges when I was a ranger, which is just show up, you
Right.
set everything up. You're a professional. There, it's like they treat you like a kid, and you're like, well, how do I put the target back, you know? Because they got this computer thing here. And like, oh, all right, you know, we'll show you, whatever. I go to do the qual, the 25-yard part. I go shoot. The target comes back. I'm like, damn, bro, where'd the holes go, you know? Like, straight up. I'm like, okay, I need to figure this out.
Yeah.
So thankfully, I had a lot of opportunities where I needed to figure out stuff on my own, how to train, how to make a schedule, how to get better. I'd learned that at this point.
Yeah.
So yeah, I started getting better, got a rifle from a buddy. I was a little more adept at that, but still I was not there. Started training that, and then with good preparation, I went to the qualification and I crushed it.
Nice.
Like knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
I did have, funny enough, I actually had to redo a part with the machine gun. You know, remember the tombstone qual?
Horrible.
That little
dude.
thing?
Horrible.
And what is it, like 7 yards? Or 10 yards?
It's at I think it's 7 yards.
Yeah,
It's 7
which you're like,
yards.
oh, not that hard. But when you're trying to control a damn machine gun and put them in like a square like this big, it's pretty fucking hard.
And that was with.
Oh, I cussed, my bad.
That's all. I've been cussing the whole show, man.
that's true.
I've
All right,
been
we're
cussing
good.
The whole show. This was with OGA,
Yeah.
because I remember shooting the tombstone qual with the saw and the 240 for the State Department gigs, and I don't know why. I must have blocked that out from selection. 'Cause
They
selection-
change things all the time.
Okay, because
And
selection.
the different organizations in there change things all
Yeah.
the time.
When I went to
I don't think they
selection-
do it anymore now.
I know we did some machine gun work, but I don't remember that qual. And I know obviously the pistol qual, the rifle qual was really quite like it was
Yeah.
a serious. That's
Yeah.
where a lot of guys got.
Oh,
canked.
tons of them.
But
yeah.
the funny thing with that tombstone qual, that tombstone target, you know what that was designed for, right?
No.
It was designed for a 240 on a tripod with team
Oh,
in.
yeah, for sure. And
That's
now
what
you're
it was
trying to do it on
designed
a
for.
bipod.
And now you're
with
trying to do it
46.
on a bipod, dude.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. And then like the machine gun is not designed to shoot 2 to 3 rounds only.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
You know?
Yeah.
So you're trying to put 2 or 3 rounds in each tombstone.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, right?
Really weird shooting cadence.
Super
Yeah.
weird shooting cadence where it's like you learn how to shoot these machine guns in a sustained rate of fire, rapid rate of fire. And now it's like, oh, you got to put 2 or 3 in each tombstone.
Yeah.
You're like,
and on a tripod. So yeah,
ridiculous.
it wasn't that bad in the mill on a tripod. It'd be like, all right, we'll knock this out
sure.
because you can lock that thing.
But
in.
dude, on a bipod with those things, like, and the
Yeah.
saw was even worse. Like,
Yeah.
doing it with a parasol was horrible because
Yeah.
rounds are going. I mean, it's an area-fed weapon, dude.
Yeah, so like I show up, destroyed the PT test.
Yeah.
Like everything.
Yeah.
Crushed everything. The rifle pistol, crushed that. That was awesome because
Nice.
I've been preparing a lot.
Yeah.
And then we're doing the practice machine gun stuff, and I'm like getting it. I'm like, this is kind of weird, but oh, okay, we're good. And I don't know what happened when I went and did the first attempt. I just sucked. I couldn't get them in there. And you know, you got different gas levels and everything.
For
Guys,
sure, yeah.
oh, well, this gun might be a little bit different.
Yeah.
I came back the second time, thankfully, and got it done.
Good.
But that was a big ego hit because I was like, oh yeah, I'm a machine gun guy.
gunner. I got this.
Yeah, but it was tough. But I like that they do it. I think they switched it now because they were losing guys for that specific reason
Yeah.
once in a while, and they're like you're saying, it's kind of ridiculous. Like, wouldn't you lose
It's
guys
not
to
really
this?
what that qual is made for.
Exactly.
Yoshi, are we doing good? What's that mean for us? Oh man,
We're crushing this right now.
dang, we're crushing it. I wanted to get into like contra. I want to get into PR. Well, let's talk about what you're doing now. So you run Tactical Cowboy, which is your own training company.
Yeah.
Right. And then you own Performance and Recovery Group, PRG, which is your physical fitness training and coaching program. Obviously, PRG is operated out of here at Provo, out at headquarters right now. Tactical Cowboy, you're kind of doing stuff all over the place. You're going off and teaching and training law enforcement agencies, etc. Place. Sorry. Oh, we can swap batteries?
I'm good.
Cool.
I got all day.
Yeah, cool.
It's a good time. I'm having fun.
Yeah, dude, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, we're just homies catching up. But what I like that you're doing with both of those things, Tactical Cowboy and PRG, and it fits into what we do here with Fieldcraft and the jiu-jitsu program and stuff, is that you're focusing on holding yourself to a high standard. And I don't mean you. I mean your clients, your students, your members, your cadre even. It's like, hold yourself to a high standard. Wake up every day and do one thing to make yourself a little better. Because that 1% and 1% and 1% and 1% and 1%, next thing you know, you've got the whole package. But you're also building like community. And is it like when you started Tactical Cowboy, when you started PRG, were you using kind of Ranger Regiment as like a baseline for how you want to run things?
No, I was actually using my experience when I was on the program.
Beautiful. Even better. And that's probably more fitting.
Yeah. And a little more big boy rules.
Yeah.
Are we good? Keep it going? All right, sweet. Yeah, I'm good. So since we got time, we're good to go. Backtracking a little bit to that. Yeah, made it through the selection process and then started working the job. And then that was really cool because, again, it was big boy rules. Not that regiment wasn't, but it's a different environment, right? Very small groups. You're getting to do much more complex things. You have to be a lot more of a thinker.
Yes.
The marksmanship standards and the fitness standards were obviously extremely high. But I really liked how there was all these different soft skills that you needed to learn. And I really liked being around those people. One thing I realized, though, is even at that level, not everybody's locked in.
Not everyone's
still,
locked
they're
in.
still not,
We
which
got
is
some
crazy.
You got libo risks, and you got dudes that do some wild, crazy shit, man.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Because now you're a civilian technically.
Yeah.
Doing the job, but my experience there was got to go overseas a bunch of times, 11 more times, and every time I started to learn more and more and more. I feel like just about being a man.
Yeah.
Because it was all on you. Yeah. I loved it. Yeah. I loved it. If I would have done that at 19, that would have been not great.
For sure. Well,
Horrible.
I think that's the problem. And I saw during my contract time, I was also older.
Yeah.
I was a bit older. And I saw some of these young guys that came out of not so much Ranger Regiment, to be honest with you, honestly out of Naval Special Warfare.
Oh, really?
They were usually like the ones that were kind of the worst because they went into Naval Special Warfare under a BUDS contract very, very young. Mm-hmm. They may have done one platoon with them, one enlistment, and then they get out and they're still young, but they were a SEAL. And they're wild. They were just wild.
I bet.
Whereas like with Rangers and Marines in general, like you guys learned how to be infantrymen first. And there was I would say a higher level of discipline and ownership. Yeah. If that makes sense,
Yeah. So, well, I think a lot of the preparation piece, like regiment is huge on the preparation because it sets you up for success. Yeah. So that was a big thing I was focused on in that time. Yeah. When I was doing it, we had a lot of Green Berets, a lot of Rangers. Obviously we had medical guys like 18 Deltas and Air Force guys, a few SEALs and a good amount of Marines, recce guys, but also just regular Marines that have been contracting for like ever.
Right.
Yeah. And those guys are generally super squared away because they've been doing this job for like 8 years. And now they get on this program. They know way more than me. I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
Yeah.
Right. So another way of, preparation sets you up for success. You show up, you're the new guy. It was really nice to be the new guy, but also have my head on straight.
Right.
Like regiment, I don't know anything.
Right.
Deer in the headlights. Everybody's scary, right?
Yeah.
As they should be to put you in your place in a nice way, in a proper way.
Kind of.
But
sometimes.
Boots in the chest are a little bit over the top. But yeah, getting in that environment just, hey, we need to do this. It's on you. It's on your little team of 3 or 4, just 2, or maybe just you, right?
Yeah.
Really getting into the solo CQB, the 2-man stuff where, hey, this is on you now.
That's it.
Like, you don't have your whole platoon. You don't have all these assets. If something goes wrong, you are the guy. And it just hit me at the right time in life when I could really start to thrive, focus on myself so I could provide the best things for everybody else.
Yeah.
So going back and forth here stateside, I was also locked in.
Right.
Where you know how that goes. A lot of the guys that aren't locked in, they just kind of get fat and get lazy at home. And, oh, yeah, I made this cash. I'm just going to chill, come back. And you're like, dude, what happened? Yeah. Then they got to get respun up on their shooting and their tactics and their fitness. And it's just an endless cycle. And I'm sure you're already thinking about people.
Dude, yeah. Oh, yeah, dude. I know so many guys. And it's like, it's hard to get back in shape at my age.
Yeah.
Like, don't lose it,
Yeah.
But it's funny. So was it with PGI? Did PGI hold the contract?
I'll probably leave that out for now.
Okay, yeah, who you work for.
Yeah.
So I can talk about it because it's been a while for me, right?
Yeah.
So I started at MVM held the contract.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
PGI held the contract. And I know, like, I say that because it's been a long time for me, and that's not classified information regardless of the program. Mm-hmm. But so I was originally on the program and went through selection in 2006 and then into 7. And then I left the program and I did a bunch of other contract stuff and contracted for some other organizations.
Nice.
And then went to UAE for 4 years as a mentor advisor there, guys. And then I went back, and because I'd been out of the program for a long time, I had to go all the way back through selection again.
Mm-hmm.
So I went back home. I went through selection again for a second time. And I was the second oldest guy in the class. So I think I was 39. I was 39, I think, at the time.
Nice.
And one of my buddies was in the class with me, and he was 43. He was a little bit older than me. And so I knew some of the cadre from when I'd been on the program, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, look, and there was like 40 dudes starting the class.
That's a good amount.
That's a good amount. There's 40 dudes starting the class. And day one, we start with a PT test. And the PT test is pretty hard.
It weeds people out. You probably lost 5.
And there's
6 guys.
More than that, bro. It was crazy. I was surprised at how many guys we lost in the PT test. But like, a standard, it was a run with a dummy drag in between, and then push-ups and sit-ups, pull-ups. Was there something else? Am I missing something?
Well, they switched up things completely now. I did that one, then they got a new high-speed one, we're lifting weights and all this stuff.
Anyway,
either way, fitness.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
And so I had it all mapped out, and I talked to my buddy. I was like, dude, is this like a gentleman's PT test? Or like, do I got to go back old school and like crank out as many push-ups as I can? And there's young Rangers there and young SEALs. These kids are just chiseled and jacked.
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, it's a gentleman's test. Like, make the standard.
Mm-hmm.
We care more about what you can do later on down the course.
Yeah.
Like, all right, roger that. So I literally mapped out each leg of the run. I was like, I got to do this leg in 3 minutes and 25 seconds. And then I got to do this leg in 3 minutes and 25 seconds. That leaves me this amount of time for the dump, right?
Yeah.
And I've got my watch set so I can like just kind of coast a little bit, but be within time. That didn't happen. I start running. They start sending you out in intervals, right?
Oh,
and I'm like, I'm gonna catch that guy.
Yeah.
Pass him. I'm gonna catch that guy. Pass him, right? So I smoked the run, smoked the dummy drag, but then we get to push-ups and sit-ups, and they're like, whatever. I don't remember what the standard was. It was like 56.
Yeah.
Whatever, right?
Which is, that's actually fairly tough because it's to failure, right?
Well.
Or was it like you just keep going, right?
No, it was 56 push-ups. That was the standard.
But was there a time limit on it?
Yeah, I think there was.
When I was doing it, it was 50. I think it might have been 50 exactly.
Maybe.
But it was one set, so you couldn't stop.
You can't stop. It's continuous.
Which is, that was not like that in the military.
Right. Where you
so it's actually pretty tough.
Yeah, it's not easy.
Yeah, because in the mill, you'll do like 80 or 90.
Right.
But you can do front lean and rest, and you got 2 minutes.
Shake one hand out.
50 reps straight.
Straight through.
It's pretty tough.
So I was like, all right, it's a gentleman. So I'm going to do 51.
Yeah.
Or whatever, right? And so I'm cranking them out. My evaluator's counting. And I get to 50, and I look at him, and I go, do you have 50? He's like, yeah, I have 50. I was like, all right, 51. And I just sit, and I sat up, and I sat there. And all these other young kids are next to me like, 100, 103. They're cranking, they're smoking themselves, dude. Then we get to the sit-ups. Well, some of the guys smoke themselves so much on the run and the other stuff. Now their hip flexors are smoked and they can't do that. So I'm literally like doing my sit-ups. I'm like, do you have 50? He's like, yeah, Roger, I got 50. I was like, all right, 51. And I just sit there, right? So I like went full like,
you got to save energy for the shooting too.
Right.
It was the same day.
Yeah, I think it was like,
dude, once you max out a PT test, then you go to the range and now you got to max out your skills there.
That's right.
That's tough.
So
that's a long day.
I was trying to be a little smarter than everybody else, you know? But that was and then did you have to pack out your bag every day?
Pack out? What do you mean? Take it home?
Check out of your hotel room?
Oh yeah. We took our gear home and came back and everything every day.
Okay. So yeah. So we had to check out of our hotel room every day, every morning.
Oh, check out of the hotel room.
We had to check out of our hotel room.
No, I don't remember that.
Bring our whole bag. Bring all our stuff that we brought with us, clothing, everything.
Because you could get booted.
Because you get booted.
Yeah.
So you load up your bag in the vans, then you all load up in your vans. You drive to the training site, and the cadre would, team leader, come on over here. And they'd be talking. The team leader would come back with his notepad and be like, all right, roster number 3, roster number 12, roster number 13, roster number 7, right? Mm-hmm. Grab your bags. You guys are gone.
Nice.
And poof, guys are gone.
Yeah.
Well, I was like, fuck this, man. So I stuffed my pillows from my bed in my duffel bag.
Nice.
And I made sure I was the first one to load it because I'm not carrying that heavy ass bag every day. Bro, if they kick me out, they'll bring me back to the hotel anyway, or I'll Uber. I'm already out of the program. Exactly. So I just stuffed my pillows in my bag.
Nice.
Pretend it was real heavy to the van, throw it in the van, you know.
That's funny.
But yeah, so, you got to cheat a little bit when you can.
Oh, yeah. But I think the environment's awesome because it's all on you, right?
It's all on you, man.
Hey, if that was, the SWAT unit or Ranger platoon, everybody's putting the stuff in the freaking bag, right? Like, there's no question. There's no
thinking
question.
for yourself.
Yeah, but now you got to think.
Yeah.
So, yeah, started getting in that environment, doing really, really well. Met a lot of really great people. Again, a lot of really great leadership. I've been blessed with that. And then, I was generally gone for 60 to 70 days, home for a similar time. I was really liking it. I was actually thinking about working up in those ranks and continuing that potentially forever.
Yeah.
Jackie and I have been getting serious, and then no baby yet, but, getting towards engagement and all that kind of stuff. And then I was coming back stateside, and I started working at the Range Masters over here.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was looking for something to do because I was always training.
Right, yeah.
So I was trying to stay locked in when I was home, always push the standard, get better. So I'm training, and then, it's a local range. So, okay, I go in there, meet the owner, Kevin, really great guy. And I was like, you know what? I've been coaching and teaching people fitness for so long. I could still do that. I'm getting really squared away with these firearms, and it's really popular here in Utah. Maybe I should start just doing one-on-one training for people. And how do you get into it? All this NRA certs and all this BS.
Yeah, right. That's how you
So I'm looking into it, and I'm like, man, this is tough. So I bet a lot of, they couldn't look back in the email. No, they probably never saw it. But I literally emailed and texted or called probably every single shooting range, training outfit, anything in the entire state.
Yeah.
And he's the only one who responded.
Oh, wow.
The only guy.
That's it.
And he's like, yeah, oh, that's cool. Your background, come on in. I didn't know anything about being a guy at a gun store. Like all these different cartridges and shotgun stuff. And
it's like, I know an M4, I know a 240 Mark 48,
Glock.
Yeah,
got Glock too. I'm good with that. So, I was a little bit not honest. I was like, oh yeah, I've been, instructing for a while.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I knew I could do it.
Right.
I knew without a doubt.
Yeah.
I've been helping guys downrange. Like I can do this. And I really like working with people. So he's like, all right, yeah, we'll start working the counter. I was working there 3 dadays a week. And as you meet people, if they're interested, let's do it. So I started doing it there at the range, and I was helping people make massive progress super, super fast, building really good relationships. Yeah. Like, oh, this is pretty cool. Then I go back for another work trip, come back, still doing it. And then I end up meeting Tommy, our competition shooter guy.
Okay, yeah.
And he's like, oh, this stuff's really cool. You should really, really do group classes, And I'm like, well, I don't really know how to. I've only done one-on-one stuff.
Right.
But the group class training on the program was incredible.
Yeah.
Now group class training in SWAT units and a Ranger regiment is good. Sometimes it's not incredible, though. It leaves stuff to be desired.
Yeah.
But when you have such a small group and everybody's to a certain level, and they've always have really good ratio of teachers because they're like, we got to get this guy squared away because he's going to be the guy. Not these 30 guys.
Right.
This could be our only asset. They train you to a higher standard. So having experienced that, I'm like, yeah, I want to try to do it that way, you know? So I'd met Tommy, I'd met other guys that I knew had a good background. They've been training with me. They're really squared away. Isaac, Braden, Will, all these guys that you know. And there's many other ones that I'm not mentioning because there's so many dudes that help out. But either way, started doing it like that, right? Like, oh, okay, well, let's do 5 people and we'll have 3 of us there. And it started going really well. Okay, went back overseas. Then I started seeing like, I'm really, really liking this. People are making tons of progress. We're building that community. We're replicating people holding themselves to the highest standard here stateside. You know, we got married. She's getting pregnant with Aspen. Oh man, like maybe I should start thinking maybe I shouldn't continue nonstop deploying. So thankfully the leadership there was amazing. I was like, hey, I want to stay home for 4 months this time. Try to push this a little more, what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So I stayed home for 4 months. Class is going really well. Private classes, maybe made a website, right? Went back overseas. And then while doing that job, really the gear started turning for Tactical Cowboy. And I was like, okay, how could I do this? How do I make my own website? Like I made the entire website from scratch that we've got, which took a long time.
Yeah, I can't do that.
It was tough. Well, you could. It would just take the application, right?
Yeah.
So got that squared away. Started, okay, how can we advertise? Tommy, thankfully, he's like, you got to start getting videos of this stuff. You got to start doing
Your videographer's.
Oh, Blake, he's solid.
Good,
So he was like, you know, social media is the thing. I hadn't done no social media at that point. And I was like, dude, should we really do it? It's not really my thing. He's like, you should. So when I first started doing it, it was a little more like, you know, a lot of the tactical companies, everybody's all serious, face blacked out, all this BS. Then I was like, this isn't really me, you know?
For sure not.
And I didn't even have a name or anything. So I was like, how do I make this a thing where it's fun, engaging, big boy rules? Yeah, we're doing tactical training. We're doing firearm stuff. We're doing all this stuff. It's great. What do I call it and how do I approach it? And my wife, Jackie, was actually the one who thought of the title Tactical Cowboy.
Oh, okay.
Where it comes from is my grandfather's influence on my wife.
Yeah.
My life. Taught me many, many lessons, obviously. The main one and one of the first ones that I can really remember is measure twice, cut once.
Yep.
And that was the original motto for Tactical Cowboy. And we still say it every class.
Yeah.
Now we got all sorts of different apparel and all this stuff now with different mottos on it. But that's where it all started. And I was like, yeah, I kind of like that because it's fun. It says tactical, right?
That's it.
You got that
idea.
idea.
Have the tactical in there.
You got to have tactical in there. People understand what it is. And that Western style cowboy themed stuff it really resonates here in Utah.
100%.
And I'm like, yeah, like I'm rocking a cowboy hat in the range. Like, let's do that, right? So then we started doing that. Faces aren't blurred. We started doing the media, and it was really revolving around you were training really, really hard, but we're having lots and lots of fun.
For sure.
And that's how it started. So spent the 4 months at home, went back down range. 6 months at home, went back down range. And I think my last trip, I spent 8 months at home, like really pushing with Tactical Cowboy. We had our whole schedule, big group classes, did a little bit of traveling, private stuff nonstop. Like we do like 2-3 of those a week. It's crazy. And then I went back and I told my leadership, I'm like, hey, this is going to be my last trip. I'm going to get back in January and I'm going to go all in on this small business idea, you know? And that's when I reached out to Mike.
Okay.
Yeah, because I still don't know what the hell I'm doing, really. Right?
None of us do, bro.
Yeah. So, and he did, because I'm thinking, okay, I realized Fieldcraft was up in Heber. I'm like, oh man, like one of the biggest names in this space is like a 45-minute drive from my house.
Yeah.
I should probably reach out as a resource, you know? Maybe I could learn something, figure out where to go. And he responded, and then we talked back and forth. We were going to do a phone call, but the timing didn't work out. I can't remember what happened, but then it worked out. Hey, I'm coming back home. He knew what I was doing. Even though I didn't tell him, he had an idea. Yeah. And he talked to some people. He told me afterwards.
Of
to
course,
like vet me to see
of
if I
course,
was
bro.
legit.
I mean, come on, man. Hey, who's this? I think I did too. I literally,
probably.
like, I called up old buddies from the program and stuff. Like, hey, who's this Tactical Cowboy dude? Who's this Devin Soto guy? The guy who smiles all the time with the teeth, bro.
Yeah.
You know?
So it worked out where he brought me over to the house, did the podcast just like this, the Black Rifle Coffee one. Got to know him, and he gave me a lot of really good nuggets of how to operate this whole tactical training thing, experience he's had. I was really grateful for it. And he brought up the idea of the gym.
Yeah.
Because he's like, hey, we're thinking about moving to maybe not exactly Provo, but more the Provo,
The
Salt
Valley
Lake area, the
yeah.
Valley. Because Heber, it was tough because it was so far out there. So he brought up the idea about, this physical fitness thing. And I was like, immediately, oh, we'll do it. And it was still in its infancy. We didn't decide anything. Then I went home, told Jackie, like, hey, not only am I going on this business, this Tactical Cowboy thing now, but we're starting a gym this summer.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, should we do that? And I just saw it as an opportunity. Like, I have to.
You have to.
Right? Like, when's it ever going to come up again?
Yeah.
Yeah. And because everything worked, like Fieldcraft, Tactical Cowboy, fitness, jiu-jitsu. It's like all these things I feel like go together, and they're what make a really high-end professional, like we did the thing at the beginning.
Yeah.
What's the most important thing? Fitness.
Yeah.
Right? And came back that January, met him. And ever since then, that's been like, 3 years now? 2 years?
So they moved into this building in August of 23.
Yeah, so 2.5 years.
I was out here in March of 23. That was when I met Mike, and he basically said, hey, I want to do the jiu-jitsu stuff out here as well.
Yeah.
So just after kind of you had talked with him, he had told me about you, and then when we got out here, you'd already been kind of moving in, and then then we came out here and did the jiu-jitsu thing. But yeah, it's I always say it's simple, just not easy.
Oh, it's so simple. You just got to show up every day.
Just show up every day. Just go to the gym every day. Just exercise every day. Just eat clean every day. Just
work hard at your job.
Work hard
every
day. Be a better person every day. Rather than getting online and saying something negative or bad about a post, if you don't have something good to say about it, just go on to the next and then say something good about someone. Yeah. Like, let's just be value adds in every aspect of our life.
Yeah.
It's like, let's just be better. Let's just be better, dude.
100%.
So,
but meeting him, the gym idea started coming, and with Tactical Cowboy, we've been pushing fitness the whole time.
Of course.
Like, I'd actually been helping guys on an individual basis. Everything just seemed to come together, and now we're just rocking and rolling nonstop. And I have to give a lot of the credit to Jackie. I would have to say, my wife.
Of course, man.
Because she makes it where I can do all these things.
Yeah.
Like, I'm nonstop all day, every day. We're going. Second I wake up, what are we doing? Either you're here getting after it, then working on,
or you're on the range,
or you're on the laptop, or you're on phone calls, figuring out sponsorships and events and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And if she wasn't able to support me as much as she does, I wouldn't be able to provide for her as much as I do.
Yeah.
But now we're a couple years all in, and it's been great.
Dude, it's awesome. I love seeing it. I can't wait to see like the next evolution, because like myself, you're always evolving, never trying to live on what you did. You're not
for sure.
We've never even talked about Ranger Regiment. We've never even really talked about contracting. We were on the same program.
Yeah.
It's like we don't live on what we did in the past, right? What are you doing today? Hey, what do you got going on next? Hey, what's this? What's that? And it's like, so I'm really excited to see the next evolution of, what you're doing with PRG, what you're doing with Tactical Cowboy, what's happening with Fieldcraft, because obviously Fieldcraft is going through some major restructuring and changes right now. Needed, and just kind of see where we all go from here, and the synergy between us. And I'm super stoked. We'll go close this out because I actually have to get on the mat again to go teach him.
Oh yeah, you do at
Jiu-jitsu's
noon.
coming up at noon. But man, awesome! Like, just awesome actually getting to learn about your like origin story, your history, your growing up and everything, because we know each other from here. What we're doing today, we don't know each other from our past at all. And so Tactical Cowboy on Instagram.
Yeah. So got to get into that.
Where can they find you? Where can these people find you?
So on Meta platforms, so Instagram, Facebook, it's Tactical Cowboy 01. Somebody already had Tactical Cowboy.
Oh, we're going to find you, man. We're going to find you, Tactical Cowboy.
Right? And then YouTube is Tactical Cowboy, and then that's about all we do, mostly in the social media space.
Okay.
But yeah, we do classes all the time, all over the country. Here in Utah, out of Utah, in the United States. And then, Performance and Recovery Group is our gym here locally. We do remote stuff, but even then, we're really selective with those people.
Right.
Because our main focus with the gym, everybody we bring in, and with the tactical stuff is actually making people better.
For sure.
And for that, you need that right person. And they don't need to be an ex-soft veteran or anything.
They just have to have the want.
They could have to have the want. They all come from different places.
That's right.
Yeah, that's where to find me. And yeah, this was fun, dude. This was fun.
No, it was awesome. We'll do more of these. I want to.
We're right here.
We need to make you like a revolving guest on the podcast.
Well, we could talk about like fitness training
because we didn't even really get into that.
Didn't.
Like,
yeah,
I'd like to do another one where we really talk about like discipline, human performance, fitness, nutrition, all that stuff. Because you and I obviously promote that heavily.
Yes.
Because we understand that's the baseline of everything else we do. You don't hear me, like you guys won't hear me really talk about gear or guns or kit or this or that. You're going to hear me talk about being on the mats and training jiu-jitsu, being in the gym, lifting weights, my diet, my nutrition, all my supplementation and the vitamins and minerals and everything that I do, you know. And yes, am I on testosterone? Yes, folks, I'm on testosterone. I'm 46 years old. I still operate at a very, very high athletic level, but I don't abuse this stuff. So, you know, you guys
it'd be good to talk about that too.
We can talk
like
about
how
all
you
that.
do it and how to not abuse it, how to do it the right way.
And I didn't touch any sort of anabolics. I didn't touch any sort of anabolics or testosterone until I was 39 years old.
Nice.
And the reason I thought I was dying. I felt so sick. I was like, well, I probably have cancer like a lot of our friends get from being overseas and stuff. And I thought I was dying, and I went and got all my blood labs ran and stuff. So that's something we can talk about in another episode. But I'd love to have you back on.
Oh, yeah.
Folks, if go check out Tactical Cowboy 01 Performance Recovery Group. Check out Devin if you're local to the Provo, Utah area. Come on down. Do a workout with them. It's really, really rad what they're doing. And you want training, hit up Tactical Cowboy, hit up Devin for some of the tactical shooting training. We're always here. We're always hanging out. We're doing some joint stuff together here and there. If you have questions, if there's stuff you guys want to see, leave them in the comments down below and hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. We'll go ahead. We'll put show notes below with his link so you guys can go ahead and look him up. Any closing words for the audience?
No, I really appreciate coming on. I think it'd be really fun to dive into those topics.
We're gonna, for sure.
I figured we were going to hit it off.
We're doing it, bro. It's been over 2 hours, man. We can keep going.
It's just the beginning.
Yeah.
But I would just say, if you guys like Greg's mustache, comment, because all the comments help, right?
All the comments
help.
help.
Getting to the end of the video.
Yeah.
And if you can leave a comment about the mustache, that'd be good.
There you go. Usually it's about my ears, bro. Usually people give me, they make fun of my ears because they don't realize it's like cauliflower ear.
What?
And I'm like, I've earned these ears, folks. Like these ears are weapons right here. But yeah, look, I realized the mustache looks a little ridiculous.
Oh, I like it.
It's kind of a piss take. I grow the mustache kind of as a joke a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's a good mustache.
Oh, I like it. I like it. But yeah, the more comments, the more people can see the Together We Go podcast.
That's it. That's it. And that's what we're trying to do here. You know, we're not changing the direction of Fieldcraft, but we're kind of getting back to our roots, trying to get back to value add, giving our customer base, our client base, value add information, not just entertainment. Not just, watch this podcast about a soft guy, but let's talk about things that can actually help them in their daily life. Discipline, good practices, good practice, good habits, nutrition, etc. And that's really where I want to push people. I just want people to be better. I want people to be better. And if we can be that catalyst to help them get better, and that means better fitness, better humans, better husbands, better fathers, just be better.
Yeah,
be nicer.
100%.
Be nice. Just be nice.
Growth mindset.
Let's just all be nice. Growth mindset, right?
So
1% every day, folks. Together we go, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, bro.
Appreciate you, man.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
We all know something's wrong, but who's gonna change it? There's a story.